Chapter 3388, Samsara Sect Heavenly Sword Marquis, what do you plan to do next? Demon Master Chenhua asked. Next, Jian Wushuang began to ponder. It will take some time for Senior Ma Yi's good friend to enter seclusion. I can only wait patiently until her good friend comes out. As for the patrol team, there is no task at the moment, so there is no need to rush back. Jian Wushuang was thinking quickly, but suddenly his eyes lit up. Oh, the Reincarnation Pearl. Jian Wushuang remembered one thing. In the Blood Wave realm, he had won a Reincarnation Pearl from the Light King in a bet. And this Reincarnation Pearl was a certificate to enter the Samsara Heaven Domain. The Samsara Heaven Domain is a saint realm for comprehending the Samsara principles. Although I have perfectly fused the Samsara principles with the spacetime principles, I'm still a little far from fully comprehending the Samsara principles. If I can enter the Samsara Heaven Domain and cultivate for a period of time, I might be able to make a breakthrough. Once I have fully grasped the Samsara principles, my strength will soar again. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands. He knew very well that in this world, no matter where he went or what he wanted to do, the most important thing was his own strength. Only when he was strong enough could he do what he wanted to do. Therefore, improving his strength was his top priority. The Samsara Heaven realm was the place where he could improve his strength. Moreover, the Samsara Heaven realm was in the second heaven, so it was on the way for Jian Wushuang. Chenhua, I'm going to the Samsara Heaven realm. Come with me, Jian Wushuang said. Samsara Heaven realm? The territory of the Samsara sect? Demon Master Chenhua raised his eyebrows. Do you know it? Jian Wushuang looked at Demon Master Chenhua. Yes. Demon Master Chenhua nodded. In the Amethyst Demon Sect's era, there were very few sects in the second heaven that were qualified to challenge the Amethyst Demon Sect. The Supreme Emotion Forgetting Valley was one of them, and the other was the Samsara Sect. Although the foundation of the Samsara Sect is inferior to the Supreme Emotion Forgetting Valley and its strength and trump cards are not as powerful as the Supreme Emotion Forgetting Valley, it is still considered a very powerful sect. As for the Samsara Heaven realm, it already existed at that time. It is said that the Samsara Heaven realm was personally created by the founder of the Samsara Sect, the Samsara Grandmaster. This place is extremely helpful to cultivators who comprehend the principles of reincarnation. However, the actions of the Samsara Grandmaster are very strange. He created the Samsara Sect himself, but after he created the Samsara Heaven realm, he spread out the hundreds of Samsara beads that he personally refined to enter the Samsara Heaven realm and spread them throughout the entire Divine Beginning realm. As for the interior of the Samsara Sect, he only left a relatively small portion. Oh. Jian Wushuang's expression changed. The Samsara bead was a token to enter the Samsara Heaven realm. There were hundreds of such tokens, but the Samsara Grandmaster only left a small part of them for the Samsara Sect. Most of them were scattered in the Divine Beginning realm? It was indeed strange. In our era, no one knew the Samsara Grandmaster's intention, so he didn't care much. After leaving the Samsara Heaven realm and the Samsara bead, he went to the universe battlefield and never came back. In that era, people often got the Samsara bead by chance and entered the Samsara Heaven realm to study the Samsara principles. Most of them gained a lot, said Demon Master Chenhua. There must be a deeper meaning behind his actions. In short, it has nothing to do with us. I came to the Samsara Heaven realm just to improve my understanding of the Samsara principles, Jian Wushuang said with a smile. Let's go and visit the Samsara Sect. Immediately, Jian Wushuang and Demon Master Chenhua set off. In the second heaven, countless sects and forces were established. Among them, there were several recognized overlords. For example, the Supreme Emotion Forgetting Valley and the Xiaoyao Mansion were overlords that made all parties submit to them. Although the Samsara Sect was not as powerful as the Supreme Emotion Forgetting Valley, it was stronger than the Xiaoyao Mansion and had a deeper foundation. The Samsara Sect occupied a vast territory. However, the headquarters of the Samsara Sect was in a huge secret land of heaven and earth. This secret land of heaven and earth was covered by a magic array and no one was allowed to enter. As for the Samsara Heaven realm, it was also in the secret realm of heaven and earth. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Jian Wushuang and Chenhua had already arrived at the entrance of the secret realm of heaven and earth where the Samsara Sect was located. Jian Wushuang had no intention of concealing his identity, and he did not change his appearance at all. He took the Samsara bead and went to the entrance. As for the Demon Master, he followed behind Jian Wushuang and did not emit any aura. Even if others used their souls to check, they could hardly see the exact level of the Demon Master's strength. This was why Demon Master Chenhua was so good at concealing his aura. Previously, Jian Wushuang had asked Demon Master Chenhua about his strength, such as how powerful his aura concealing technique was. The answer he got was that Demon Master Chenhua also had an extremely unique secret skill. This secret skill was similar to the shadowless escape skill that Jian Wushuang had mastered. It could hide in the void and disappear into nothingness. They could not be sensed by the soul. To ascertain extent, this secret skill was slightly stronger than the shadowless escape skill. Because of this, when they were in the secret realm of heaven and earth in the Amethyst Fog Sea, Jian Wushuang and Marquis Xiaoyao could not sense the existence and location of this demon master. It was best for Jian Wushuang to use the golden sky painting flag to cast spacetime imprisonment and completely control spacetime to find him. With such a powerful technique and a secret skill to conceal his aura, if the demon master did not want others to know his actual strength, ordinary people, even some principles masters with extraordinary strength, would not be able to see it. But if it was a real battle, it would be different. Please inform them that Heavenly Sword Marquis of the Temporal Temple is here with the Samsara bead and wants to enter the Samsara heaven realm controlled by your SEC realm. Jian Wushuang took out the Samsara bead and showed it to the Samsara sect disciples guarding the entrance of the secret Samsara bead. The Samsara sect disciples at the entrance of the secret realm glanced at the Samsara bead and immediately knew that it was real. Then they immediately remembered the name that Jian Wushuang had just given them. Heavenly Sword Marquis? Heavenly Sword Marquis of the Temporal Temple? That super monster? The Samsara sect disciples looked at Jian Wushuang with excitement, but soon someone went in to report. Chapter 3389. Do you remember Dujiu? In an exquisite pavilion in the headquarters of the Samsara sect, the sect leader of the Samsara sect, who was sitting in front of a long table and casually flipping through a token, suddenly stood up. Heavenly Sword Marquis? This Heavenly Sword Marquis is actually outside our Samsara sect? The Samsara sect leader's face was ashen, and there was a trace of shock and anger in his eyes. Yes, and he came with the Samsara beads. A white-haired elder nodded. How dare he? The Samsara sect master cursed in his heart. I heard that Heavenly Sword Marquis made a bet with the Light King in the Blood Wave realm. One of the bets was the Samsara beads and it ended up in his hands. But I didn't expect him to actually dare to take the Samsara beads into the Samsara sect. The Samsara heaven realm was left behind by the Samsara Grandmaster, and it had always been under the control of the Samsara sect. The Samsara sect had also been paying close attention to the Samsara beads that the Samsara Grandmaster had refined. The bet between Jian Wushuang and the Light King in the Blood Wave realm? The Samsara bead was one of the wagers. Perhaps the other sects would not care too much about it, but the Samsara sect definitely knew about it and attached great importance to it. According to the words of the Samsara Grandmaster, anyone who came with the Samsara bead could enter the Samsara heaven realm to cultivate and comprehend. However, the current Samsara sect master was obviously very angry at Jian Wushuang's arrival. Did Heavenly Sword Marquis come alone, or was there another expert with him? Samsara sect master asked again. According to the reports from the disciples at the entrance, there is another person with him. That person's aura is well hidden, so we can't tell whether it's real or not. But if we're not mistaken, it should be a principal's master, said the white-haired elder. Humph, he wants to enter the Samsara heaven realm with just a principal's master? In his dreams. The Samsara sect master's face turned cold. Let's go, call the elders and follow me to meet this super monster from the divine beginning realm. Soon, with the Samsara sect master in the lead, nearly 10 elders at the principal's master level of the Samsara sect walked toward the entrance aggressively. At the entrance of the secret realm, Jian Wushuang and Demon Master Chenhua looked relaxed. They did not have any hostility toward the Samsara sect, and in their opinion the Samsara sect should not have any hostility toward them. Not long after, they saw a group of more than a dozen people rushing out of the secret realm. Their auras were extremely dense, and more than half of them had reached the level of principal's masters, especially the two leaders. One was the principal's master of the Samsara sect, and the other was the great elder of the Samsara sect. The auras they emitted were clearly at the peak of the four void realms. Seeing this lineup, Jian Wushuang and Demon Master Chenhua immediately looked strange. 2 peak of the 4 void realms and nearly 10 principal's masters. This lineup is extraordinary, Demon Master Chenhua said. Although I'm very famous in the divine beginning realm, I don't have any friendship with the Samsara sect. The Samsara sect wouldn't send such a lineup to welcome me, right? But if the Samsara sect sent such a force to make an enemy out of me, there's no reason for it? I don't remember offending the Samsara sect. Jian Wushuang looked puzzled. Many experts of the Samsara sect had already appeared in front of Jian Wushuang and Demon Master Chenhua. Are you Heavenly Sword Marquis? Samsara Sect Master stared at Jian Wushuang coldly. Yes, I am. You must be Dark Chaos Sect Master of Samsara Sect, right? Jian Wushuang asked. Yes, I am. Samsara Sect Master nodded. I heard that you came here with the Samsara bead today? Let me see it. Although Jian Wushuang noticed that Samsara Sect Master's expression and the surrounding people were a little strange, he did not think too much about it. He directly gave the Samsara bead to Samsara Sect Master. Samsara Sect Master took the bead and played with it for a while. He nodded slightly and said, It is indeed the Samsara bead. Well, thank you for returning it. Now you can leave. As soon as he said this, Jian Wushuang's eyes narrowed. Sect Master, what you said is wrong. I came to Samsara Sect with the Samsara bead. According to the principles set by the Samsara Grandmaster, I can enter the Samsara Heaven realm with the Samsara bead to comprehend the Samsara principles. That's true. The Samsara Sect Master did not deny it. If someone else came with the Samsara bead, the Samsara Sect would bring him into the Samsara Heaven realm, but you can't. The Samsara Sect Master's voice was full of coldness. He looked at Jian Wushuang with cold eyes. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Jian Wushuang was confused, but he still asked in a low voice, Sect Master, if I remember correctly, there is no enmity between the Samsara Sect and me, right? Why are you deliberately making things difficult for me? No enmity? You still have the nerve to say that there is no enmity between you and the Samsara Sect. The Samsara Sect Master smiled coldly, then he shouted in a low voice, Heavenly Sword Marquis, I ask you, do you still remember the expert you met in the Blood Wave realm named Dujiu? Dujiu? Jian Wushuang was stunned. He quickly thought about it and quickly remembered, I met an invincible saint named Dujiu in the Blood Wave realm. During the fight for the Blood Wave token, I tried to assassinate him in order to get the Blood Wave token. I destroyed his divine body and he was killed by the saints who surrounded him. As for the Blood Wave token, it fell into my hands. But what does Dujiu's death have to do with your Samsara Sect? Jian Wushuang did not understand. Back then he had killed Dujiu in order to fight for the Blood Wave token. However, he had read Dujiu's information before. According to the information, Dujiu was a solitary expert with no background. How could he be related to the Samsara Sect now? What does Dujiu have to do with the Samsara Sect? Well, let me tell you now. Dujiu is my son. The Samsara Sect Master said with bloodshot eyes. What? Jian Wushuang was completely stunned. Beside him, Demon Master Chenhua was also stunned. Dujiu was the biological son of the Samsara Sect Master? How could this be? Sect Master, are you sure you're not joking? In the information collected by the Temporal Temple, Dujiu is clearly a solitary expert with no background. How could he be your biological son? Jian Wushuang asked with a frown. How could I lie to you? The Samsara Sect Master gnashed his teeth. My rebellious son is rebellious and disobedient. Many years ago he left the Samsara Sect and went on his own. He even changed his name and had nothing to do with me or the Samsara Sect. However, no matter how he tried, he was still my son and a member of the Samsara Sect. Yet, you killed him indirectly in the Blood Wave realm. Chapter 3390, Overpowering the Samsara Sect. Heavenly Sword Marquis, you and I have a feud over the death of our son. We cannot live under the same sky, but we are in the Blood Wave realm after all. In order to fight for the Blood Wave token, life and death are in the hands of the heavens. Therefore we can only put down our hatred and never seek revenge on you. Yet you still dare to appear in front of us. Do you really think that we, the Samsara Sect, are easy to bully? The Samsara Sect Master was furious. The experts of the Samsara Sect also stared at Jian Wushuang in shock and anger. Hearing the words of the Samsara Sect Master, Jian Wushuang's expression became very strange. He had thought that there was no enmity between him and the Samsara Sect, but it was not the case. Not only did he have enmity with the Samsara Sect, but the enmity was also not small. Moreover, the enmity came from a person he had killed in the Blood Wave realm. He had killed a random person in order to obtain the Blood Wave token. It was such a person that Jian Wushuang did not care about at all. Now he had brought a lot of trouble to Jian Wushuang. Sect Master, I can only apologize for what happened to Dujiu. After all the experts who enter the Blood Wave realm are aiming for the Blood Wave token. Countless experts have died because of the Blood Wave token. Although Dujiu died largely because of me, he can only blame himself for being weak. He can't blame me, Jian Wushuang said. What he said was true. Every time the Blood Wave realm opened, there would be a huge massacre. Countless experts would fight for the Blood Wave token, and of course, countless experts would die. If these fallen experts all wanted to hold a grudge, the divine beginning realm would have been in complete chaos. Therefore, no matter who killed these experts in the Blood Wave realm, they could not blame others. They could only blame themselves for being weak, which was recognized by everyone in the divine beginning realm. Now I can bring the Samsara bead to your Samsara sect. According to the rules set by the Samsara Grandmaster, your Samsara sect should allow me to enter the Samsara heaven realm, Jianghu Shuang said. Humph, that's right. The Grandmaster did say that as long as you can bring the Samsara bead, you can enter the Samsara heaven realm. However, you only know one thing but you don't know the other. When the Grandmaster said this, he also said that if you have a great enmity with our Samsara sect, you are an exception. In other words, as long as you are an enemy of the Samsara sect, even if you bring the bead, you are not qualified to enter the Samsara heaven realm. As for you, Heavenly Sword Marquis, you killed my son. Aren't you an enemy of the Samsara sect? The Samsara sect master's voice was cold. It was obvious that he did not want Jianghu Shuang to enter the Samsara heaven realm. Understanding this, Jianghu Shuang's face turned cold. Since you won't let me enter the Samsara heaven realm, you'll have to resort to extreme measures, Jianghu Shuang said in a low voice. Extreme measures? Heavenly Sword Marquis, what do you want to do? The Samsara sect master looked at Jianghu Shuang coldly. This is the entrance of the Samsara sect. It's not for a mere saint like you to behave atrociously. Really? Jianghu Shuang smiled disdainfully, but he glanced at Demon Master Chenhua beside him. Chenhua, do it. It's really troublesome to follow you around. There are enemies everywhere. Demon Master Chenhua complained, but he still made his move at the first moment. Boom. Demon Master Chenhua's aura, which had been hidden all this time, suddenly burst out like a tsunami. In an instant, the world-destroying aura suppressed the entire area. 6 states of the void. When the experts of the Samsara sect felt this aura, their expressions changed drastically. However, Demon Master Chenhua had already turned into a gray stream of light and appeared directly in front of the Samsara sect master and the first elder. These two were experts at the peak of the 4th state of the void and were the 2 strongest people in the Samsara sect. And now, Demon Master Chenhua's target was the 2 of them. Be careful. The Samsara sect master shouted. The moment he saw the Demon Master Chenhua make his move, he and the first elder beside him immediately reacted. The 2 instantly unleashed their strongest strength, joining hands to block the Demon Master Chenhua. But in the end, the Demon Master Chenhua only casually waved his palm, and the terrifying power of the peak void 6th level directly crushed the Samsara sect master and the first elder's attack. The majestic power also directly covered the 2 of them. The 2 figures immediately retreated in a sorry state. They can't withstand a single blow. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. The Demon Master curled his lips and charged forward again. The expressions of the Samsara sect master and the Great Elder changed drastically when they saw this. They hurriedly blocked the attack of the Demon Master. On the other side, Jianghu Shuang also attacked. The 2 strongest 4 Void Realm experts of the Samsara sect were completely crushed by Demon Master Chenhua. Although there were still many Principles Masters left, the strongest Rule Masters were only in the 3 Void Realm. Moreover, there were no experts who specialized in the soul. Jianghu Shuang directly used Shadowless Escape technique against these Principles Masters. Bus. He suddenly appeared behind the Principles Masters silently. The Principles Masters in the 2nd and 3rd realms of the void could not sense his exact location. They could not react in time to Jianghu Shuang's bloody sword skill. The scarlet sword light easily penetrated the divine bodies of the Principles Masters. In the blink of an eye, Jianghu Shuang had penetrated the divine bodies of 4 Principles Masters. Although they did not die because of their immortal bodies, they immediately consumed about 30 to 40% of their divine power. Moreover, Jianghu Shuang continued to assassinate them. In a short while, the Principles Masters of the Samsara sect were completely terrified. Stop! The Samsara sect master, who had been completely crushed by Demon Master Chenhua, began to shout as his divine power was being consumed by Demon Master Chenhua's attacks. Jianghu Shuang's blood mountain sword pierced through the divine body of a Principles Master for the 9th time. At that moment, he heard the Samsara sect master's shout and immediately stopped. Dark Chaos Sect Master, can I enter the Samsara heaven realm now? Jianghu Shuang's gaze was cold, and there was a hint of killing intent in the depths of his eyes. This hint of killing intent caused the Samsara sect master's heart to tremble. It was as if he dared to say no, these principles masters of the Samsara sect would be completely killed by the other party. The short fierce battle just now had fully demonstrated that Jian Wushuang indeed possessed such strength. As long as there were no experts of the Void Fourth Realm or above to interfere, Jian Wushuang could indeed kill the principles masters of the Void Second and Third Realms with his shadowless escape art. As for Samsara sect master and the great elder of the Samsara sect, these two experts of the Void Fourth Realm, even if they joined hands to face Demon Master Chenhua, they would be completely crushed. Even if Demon Master Chenhua attacked with his full strength, both of their lives were in danger. Chapter 3391. In the Samsara sect, this heavenly sword Marquis is only at the saint level, but I didn't expect him to be so powerful that even a Void Third Stage expert couldn't do anything against his assassination. Also, what is the background of this person in front of me? He is a powerful expert of the 6 states of the Void, and he has probably reached the peak of the 6 states of the Void. How could he follow Heavenly Sword Marquis and listen to his orders? The Samsara sect master looked at Demon Master Chenhua in shock. Although they had only exchanged blows for a short period of time, the strength of the Demon Master Chenhua had completely frightened him. If I don't agree to let him enter the Samsara sect with their strength, they will definitely be able to kill all the principles masters of the Samsara sect. Even I might not have a chance to survive. Even if we hide in the sect and use the sect protecting formation to block them, if they are blocked outside, the powerful disciples of the Samsara sect will never be able to leave again. After thinking for a while, the Samsara sect master made up his mind. Heavenly Sword Marquis, I can take you to the Samsara Heaven Realm, but you must leave the Samsara sect as soon as you come out of the Samsara Heaven Realm. You must never step into the Samsara sect again. Humph, if it weren't for the Samsara Heaven Realm, I wouldn't be interested in your Samsara sect at all. Jian Wushuang snorted. Lead the way. The Samsara sect master restrained his aura and took a deep look at Jian Wushuang, then began to lead the way. As for the principles masters of the Samsara sect, although they felt very aggrieved, they could only suppress their anger when they thought of the strength of Jian Wushuang and Demon Master Chenhua. As the saying goes, a wise man submits to circumstances. Since the Samsara sect was able to stand up until now, they knew their limits. In the face of absolute strength, they could only bow their heads. Soon Jian Wushuang and Demon Master Chenhua entered the Samsara sect. The huge sect was magnificent and grand. Compared to the supreme emotion-forgetting valley, it was indeed majestic and grand. However, this was mainly because the sect of the supreme emotion-forgetting valley mainly focused on peace and tranquility. They did not pursue the sect's imposing manner. After entering the Samsara sect, Jian Wushuang immediately sensed the vast power of reincarnation in the center of the secret land of heaven and earth, which attracted him deeply. The Samsara sect mainly focuses on comprehending the Samsara principles. The power of the Samsara principles in the sect is much denser than in other places, but the power of the Samsara principles gathered in the center is dozens of times denser than in other places in the Samsara sect. The power of the Samsara principles is so strong. Is it the location of the Samsara Heaven Realm? Jian Wushuang muttered to himself. Sure enough, the Samsara sect master soon brought Jian Wushuang to the center of the secret land of heaven and earth, where the power of the Samsara principles that Jian Wushuang sensed was the strongest. This is the Samsara Heaven Realm. The Samsara sect master looked at the vast territory covered by the restriction and said slowly, the Samsara Heaven Realm was created by the founder of the Samsara sect. It's the best saint realm for comprehending the Samsara principles. However, since the founding of the Samsara Heaven Realm by the Ancestor, the Samsara Heaven Realm has been covered by the restriction. This restriction is indestructible. Even a master of the Saint Realm would not be able to break it by force. For hundreds of millions of years, only those who have the Samsara bead are qualified to enter the Samsara Heaven Realm. As for others, even the genius disciples of the Samsara sect and even the sect master of the Samsara sect, they can't enter the Samsara Heaven Realm without the Samsara bead. Jian Wushuang looked at the territory in front of him, but his heart was extremely shocked. After all, he had sensed the power of the principles of reincarnation in this territory when he just entered the Samsara sect. It was dozens of times stronger than other places, but he did not expect it to be covered by a restriction. If he really entered the Samsara Heaven Realm, how strong would the power of the principles of reincarnation be? It was probably far beyond his imagination. And the effect of comprehending the principles of reincarnation in a place with such a strong power of the principles of reincarnation was naturally much better than other places. Of course, the Samsara Heaven Realm was certainly more beneficial to a cultivator comprehending the Samsara principles. Heavenly Sword Marquis, I can only take you so far. Erase the Samsara bead. You can go in by yourself. The Samsara sect master returned the Samsara bead to Jianghu Shuang. Jianghu Shuang took it and nodded slightly. Then he glanced at Demon Master Chenhua and said, "Chenhua, wait for me here." Demon Master Chenhua shrugged. Jianghu Shuang immediately rushed toward the area covered by the restriction. Because of the Samsara bead, the restriction did not hinder Jianghu Shuang, so he easily entered the Samsara heaven realm. Many experts of the Samsara sect were upset when they saw Jianghu Shuang enter the Samsara heaven realm. He is the enemy of the Samsara sect, but we can only watch him enter the Samsara heaven realm. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. There's nothing we can do. His strength is too strong. Heavenly Sword Marquis is still okay. Although his assassination skills are excellent, as long as an expert of the Void Fourth Realm appears, we have a chance to deal with him. But the key is this man. Many of the principals masters of the Samsara sect could not help but look at Demon Master Chenhua. Indeed, although Jianghu Shuang's strength and skills made them very difficult to deal with, it was not enough to make the entire Samsara sect afraid. But Demon Master Chenhua. His strength alone was enough to make the Samsara sect tremble. After all, there was no one in the Samsara sect who could contend with Demon Master Chenhua, not even one or two experts who could barely deal with him. Sir, as far as I know, although there are many experts in the Temporal Temple, I don't think you are one of them, am I right? The Samsara sect master came to the front of the Demon Master Chenhua and asked. His attitude was rather humble. Did not have any connection with the Temporal Temple, but not long ago, I became one of the worshippers of the Temporal Temple, the Demon Master Chenhua said coldly. Worshippers. The Samsara sect master was stunned. He did not know that the Temporal Temple had such a position. He smiled. The Samsara sect master continued. Heavenly Sword Marquis took the Samsara bead and entered the Samsara heaven realm. Under normal circumstances he could stay in the Samsara heaven realm for a month. He would only come out after a month. Although this month is not long, it would be too boring if you were to wait here. Why don't you come with me to my Samsara sect? While the Samsara sect master was in awe of a super powerhouse like the Demon Master Chenhua, he also wanted to befriend him. There's no need. I'll wait here. The Demon Master Chenhua rejected him directly. In that case, please make yourself at home. The Samsara sect master laughed dryly and did not say anything else. Instead, he left with the Samsara sect's principals masters. Chapter 3392, Revenge in the Magnificent Palace of the Samsara Sect. Many experts of the Samsara Sect were gathered here. Sect Master, are we going to watch Heavenly Sword Marquis do whatever he wants in the Samsara Sect? The first elder of the Samsara Sect asked in a low voice. The others also looked at the Samsara Sect Master. In fact, the other experts of the Samsara Sect did not have any great enmity against Jianghu Shuang. The key was the Sect Master. He had killed his son with Jianghu Shuang. This enmity was extremely great. I don't want to, but my skills are inferior to his. The Samsara Sect Master clenched his hands and his body trembled slightly. It's one thing for Heavenly Sword Marquis to have great strength, but I didn't expect him to have such a terrifying figure by his side. An expert at the peak of the Sixth Void Realm is not someone the Samsara Sect can afford to offend. Hearing this, everyone felt helpless. The Samsara Sect's first elder spoke. There are very few principals masters in the 6 levels of the Void Realm in the entire Divine Beginning Realm. Any one of them can become the ruler of some transcendent powers or even their strongest trump card. For example, the 4 famous divine clans in the Third Heaven only have 6 levels of the Void Realm as their strongest experts. It's unknown if there are any 6th level Void Realm experts in the 8 Directions Heavenly Sect. Tundra, where this Heavenly Sword Marquis got an expert at the peak of the 6 states of the Void as a helper. What is the background of this expert at the peak of the 6 states of the Void? Wanted to invite that person over just now and ask him about his background, but he rejected me, said the Samsara Sect Master. They were curious about the background of the Demon Master Chenhua. After all, although the Divine Beginning Realm was vast, there were very few experts at the 6 states of the Void. There were only a few of them, so it was surprising that such a powerful expert at the peak of the 6 states of the Void had appeared. Oh right, I heard that Heavenly Sword Marquis called this person Chenhua, an elder suddenly said. Yes, I heard it too, another elder said. Chenhua. Samsara Sect Master frowned slightly. This name sounds familiar. I should have heard of it before. Samsara Sect Master tried hard to recall, but he could not recall it for a moment. But at this moment, the eyes of the first elder beside him suddenly shrank. Chenhua? Could it be Demon Master Chenhua? The Demon Master Chenhua? The Samsara Sect master immediately looked over. Nearly 200 million years ago, there was an overlord sect in the second heaven, the Amethyst Demon Sect. At that time, there was a very famous genius elder in the Amethyst Demon Sect, the Demon Master Chinhua. Could it be this person? The first elder said in a deep voice. As soon as he said this, there was a commotion in the hall, but the Samsara Sect master immediately said, "No wonder I find it familiar. It's the Demon Master Chinhua from the Amethyst Demon Sect." They heard of this genius elder before. However, the Amethyst Demon Sect has been destroyed for nearly 200 million years. That genius elder should have died by now. As for this mysterious expert, although his name is also Chinhua, he might not be the same Demon Master Chinhua from before. After all, there are too many repetitions of his name and reputation in this world. We will know soon if it is the Demon Master Chinhua. The first elder immediately began to search for information about the Amethyst Demon Sect. In just a moment, the first elder raised his head again. It's confirmed. The expert at the peak of the 6th level of the void in our Samsara Sect is the Amethyst Demon Sect's genius elder, the Demon Master Chinhua. The first elder said seriously. What? It's true. It's really Demon Master Chinhua? It's been almost 200 million years and this genius elder is still alive? The Samsara Sect's principals masters were all shocked. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. The Samsara Sect master was pleasantly surprised. Demon Master Chinhua, it's really Demon Master Chinhua. Aha, the heavens are helping me. Sect master? The first elder and the rest looked at the Samsara Sect master in confusion. The Samsara Sect master's laughter stopped. He said coldly, "The Demon Master Chinhua is from the Amethyst Demon Sect and he is extremely talented. However, don't forget that the Amethyst Demon Sect was destroyed by the Flame Saint Realm. It can be said that the Flame Saint Realm is the Demon Master Chinhua's greatest enemy. If this Demon Master Chinhua has the chance, he will definitely take revenge on the Flame Saint Realm without hesitation. Similarly, once the Flame Saint Realm knows that the Demon Master Chinhua is still alive and that he has reached the peak of the 6 states of the void, he will definitely treat the Demon Master Chinhua as a great threat and will definitely think of a way to kill him." Hearing this, the experts of the Samsara Sect understood what the Samsara Sect master meant. "Sect master, are you trying to tell the Flame Saint Realm that the Demon Master Chinhua is still alive?" The first elder looked over. "That's right, the Flame Saint Realm has always been high and mighty. They will not allow a powerful enemy with extraordinary talent who has already reached the peak of the 6 states of the void to remain alive. As long as I tell the Flame Saint Realm about this, the Flame Saint Realm will likely send their experts over immediately. Even the Flame Saint Master will personally come. In addition, the hatred between the Heavenly Sword Marquis and the Flame Saint Realm is even greater. When that time comes, the Flame Saint Master might attack both of them at the same time." Samsara Master laughed coldly. Of course, Heavenly Sword Marquis life-saving skills are heaven-defying, and he is highly regarded by the Temporal Temple Master. Now that he dares to venture into the third heaven, he must have enough support and not be worried that the 3 Saint Realms will attack him. Therefore, even if Flame Saint Realm arrives, it will be difficult for him to kill Heavenly Sword Marquis. However, Flame Saint Master is absolutely confident that he can kill Demon Master Chinhua. "As long as I kill Demon Master Chinhua and make Heavenly Sword Marquis lose a big helper, he'll be able to ease the hatred in my heart." After hearing the Samsara Sect master's words, the principals masters of the Samsara Sect looked at each other in dismay and nodded secretly. Indeed, Jianghu was very difficult to kill. This had been proven on the Saha Island. Now, even if the 3 Saint Realms came together again, they might not be able to kill Jianghu. However, although Demon Master Chinhua was stronger than Jianghu, his life-saving ability was not that great. The Flame Saint Master was definitely capable of killing him. "Till contact the Flame Saint Realm now." Samsara Sect Master immediately began to contact him. In just a moment he had informed the Saint Realm of the news that Demon Master Chinhua was still alive and had reached the peak of the 6th Void Realm. Of course, he also told them that Demon Master Chinhua was with Jianghu. After sending the message, Samsara Sect Master began to look forward to it. "Heavenly Sword Marquis, you have great means and the support of the Temporal Temple. I don't dare to seek revenge on you, but the Flame Saint Realm does. I'd like to see how the Flame Saint Master killed your helper when he came in person." Chapter 3393. Do Not Provoke. In the Flame Saint Realm, at the peak of a vast sea of fire, there was a Flame Saint Palace. This Flame Saint Palace was where Flame Saint Master lived. "You are saying that there are still people from the Amethyst Demon Sect that I personally destroyed, and they have already reached the pinnacle of the 6 stages of the void?" Flame Saint Master's entire body was covered in flames, controlling the endless sea of fire around him. There seemed to be flames burning in his eyes as well. Right below Flame Saint Master, a purple-robed elder was kneeling respectfully. When he heard Flame Saint Master's words, he immediately replied respectfully, "Saint Master, this news was personally transmitted by the Samsara Sect Master. It shouldn't be fake. And the demon master Chinhua that he mentioned was a genius elder of the Amethyst demon sect back then. His talent was extremely high, and our Flame Saint Master did not kill him when we destroyed the Amethyst demon sect. In addition, not long ago, there was news from the Xiaoyao mansion that they met an expert left behind by the Amethyst demon sect in the Amethyst Fog Sea. Even Marquis Xiaoyao was easily defeated by him. If I'm not mistaken, it should be this demon master Chinhua. Who would have thought that after such a long time, there would still be survivors from the Amethyst demon sect?" Flame Saint Master's expression was cold, and his eyes were filled with shocking killing intent. "Saint Master, this demon master Chinhua himself is a super genius with incredible talent. According to the news from Xiaoyao Mansion, he has been staying in a heaven and earth secret realm within the Amethyst Fog Sea all these years. He hasn't had any contact with the outside world, hasn't experienced anything, and hasn't obtained any opportunities. He has purely relied on himself to blindly cultivate, yet he has still raised his strength to the peak of the 6th level of the void. With such ability, our Flame Saint realm has no choice but to guard against him," the violet-robed old man said. "He could reach the peak of the 6th level of the void realm just by blindly cultivating. His talent is indeed extraordinary. Now that he has come out of the heaven and earth secret realm, with his talent he might have a chance to break through to the ruler level. Once he reaches that level, he would pose a great threat to the Flame Saint realm." Flame Saint realm nodded slightly. "However, with his current strength alone, I'm afraid that no one within my Flame Saint realm has the ability to kill him unless I personally take action." "That's right. That's why I've come to ask Saint Master to personally take action," the purple-robed elder said respectfully. In addition, after this demon master Chinhua left the Amethyst Fog Sea, he established a relationship with the Temporal Temple. Now he's been following Heavenly Sword Marquis like a guard. "What did you say?" Flame Saint Master was finally moved. "This demon master Chinhua is following Heavenly Sword Marquis?" "Yes." The purple-robed elder nodded. Flame Saint realm fell silent. This silence lasted for a long while before he spoke. "Have people keep an eye on Heavenly Sword Marquis and Demon Master Chinhua. Remember, just keep an eye on them. There is no need for any other actions. Our Flame Saint realm will not provoke them for now." "Not provoke them?" The purple-robed elder was stunned. He asked subconsciously, "Is it because of Heavenly Sword Marquis?" "Yes." Flame Saint realm did not hide it. During the battle on the Saha Island, Heavenly Sword Marquis displayed an extremely powerful technique. Although his strength does not belong to him and he will not have such strength in the future, after that battle the Temporal Temple Master will definitely give him other life-saving methods. With the strength of the 3 Saint Realms, we have no chance to kill him. Since I can't kill him, I won't provoke him for now. When I have absolute confidence in the future, it won't be too late to attack him. As for the Demon Master Chinhua, even though he is extremely talented, he has wasted so many years in the process. I'm afraid that he has wasted a lot of his talent. Even if he is extremely lucky in the future and can break through to the ruler level, it won't be a big deal. A mere ruler level has no influence on the situation of the Divine Beginning Realm. Although he can pose a threat to the Flame Saint Realm, it's impossible for him to threaten the position of the Flame Saint Realm. To put it bluntly, what the Flame Saint Realm should really pay attention to is the Heavenly Sword Marquis. He is the enemy that can seriously threaten the position of the Flame Saint Realm and the 3 Great Saint Realms. As for the Demon Master Chinhua, he is far from the Heavenly Sword Marquis. Understood, your subordinate will take his leave. The purple-robed old man immediately bowed and left. After the purple-robed old man left, the Flame Saint Master was the only one left in the huge Flame Divine Hall. At this moment, a large amount of raging flames surged around the Flame Saint Master's body, and his gaze was extremely scorching. Heavenly Sword Marquis, the 3 Great Saint Realms can't do anything to you now, but just you wait. Before long your doomsday will come, just like your master Shen Yi from countless years ago. If he dies, you will die too. As for the Temporal Temple and the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance, anyone who dares to stand on your side will die. Ha ha ha. Wild laughter echoed throughout the entire Flame Temple. The laughter stirred up the surrounding sea of fire, making it even more vigorous. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Calm thanks. In the Samsara heaven realm of the Samsara sect, Jian Wushuang had already entered the Samsara heaven realm. When he actually appeared in the Samsara heaven realm, Jian Wushuang could sense how vast and rich the power of the Samsara principles was. The power of the Samsara principles on such a scale is probably hundreds of times richer than in the outside world. If I meditate on the Samsara principles here, my speed will be dozens of times faster than in the outside world, Jian Wushuang said with a faint smile. While sensing the strong power of the law of reincarnation around him, Jian Wushuang also took in the Samsara heaven realm in front of him. From the outside, the Samsara heaven realm looked like a vast territory. However, after entering, Jian Wushuang saw nothing but darkness and desolation. There was no life in the void in his eyes. It was filled with a dead aura that almost filled the entire sky. The aura of death is so dense? Jian Wushuang frowned slightly. The aura of death is ethereal, but why does it give me an unfathomable feeling, as if it's an extremely special power that even I haven't touched yet? Yes, it's power. Jian Wushuang's eyes sparkled, and then a smile appeared on his lips. It said that the Samsara heaven realm is an excellent place to meditate on the Samsara principles, but what I'm seeing right now clearly doesn't meet this requirement. However, the aura of death I'm sensing is extraordinary. I'd like to see where the source of this aura of death is. Jian Wushuang smiled and immediately sent his consciousness toward the surrounding aura of death. Chapter 3394 The Power of Death and the Power of Life. The aura of death was cold, gloomy, suffocating, and could even annihilate all living beings. Moreover, the aura of death was extraordinarily vast. As Jian Wushuang's consciousness covered it, he could not completely cover it. He could only continue to explore along the aura of death. As a result, the aura of death became more and more extensive. Jian Wushuang finally realized that the aura of death he sensed before was only the tip of the iceberg of the Samsara heaven realm. The aura of death in the Samsara heaven realm was so extensive that the entire Samsara heaven realm could not accommodate it. Underground. The source of this aura of death is very deep underground, and its range is very vast. The secret realm of heaven and earth where the Samsara sect is located is actually covered by this aura of death. Even outside the secret realm of heaven and earth, the underground of a large territory is filled with this aura of death. However, because this aura of death is hidden too deep underground, it's almost impossible to find it. Only by slowly exploring the aura of death in the Samsara heaven realm can I sense the existence of this vast aura of death. Jian Wushuang was secretly shocked. He originally thought that the Samsara heaven realm was as big as he could see with the naked eye, but in fact, the coverage of the entire Samsara heaven realm was far beyond his imagination. The area covered by the vast aura of death that he sensed was already very shocking, but he still could not sense the source of the aura of death. Suppressing his shock, Jian Wushuang continued to sense along the aura of death. Slowly he sensed a huge sea of aura of death, and at the end of the sea of aura of death, Jian Wushuang suddenly felt a completely different power. This is the power of life? Jian Wushuang was stunned. He felt the death aura in the Samsara heaven realm, and along the death aura he sensed a huge sea of death aura. However, at the other end of the sea of death aura, there was a huge amount of power of life. The power of life contained vigorous vitality, which was completely opposite to the death aura. What's going on? Jian Wushuang frowned, full of doubts. But at this moment, little guy, you're lucky. A wicked voice suddenly sounded. Jian Wushuang suddenly woke up and opened his eyes. Who is it? Jian Wushuang looked around but did not see any human figure. He immediately realized that the voice did not seem to come from the outside world, but through his consciousness, it directly reached his heart. And his consciousness was in the sea of death qi. As expected, as Jian Wushuang's consciousness fell silent again, he saw a hazy figure on the other side of the sea of death qi. The hazy figure looked like an old man in a gray-white robe. There was a strange smile at the corner of his mouth. Who are you? Jian Wushuang asked with his consciousness. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Com thanks. Gu Deng, but people in the outside world usually call me the Samsara Grandmaster, the blurry figure said with a smile. Samsara Grandmaster? Jian Wushuang's expression changed immediately. You're the founder of the Samsara sect, the Samsara Grandmaster? Yes. The blurry figure nodded slightly. But what you see now is just a strand of my consciousness. As for my original body, it has long gone to explore the depths of the universe battlefield. Jian Wushuang understood that if it was the original body of the Samsara Grandmaster, it would not have been able to stay in the Samsara heaven realm forever. However, it was still very easy for him to leave his consciousness behind. The reason why I left a strand of my consciousness here is actually to wait for a fated person, the Samsara Grandmaster said with a smile. Fated person? What fated person? Jian Wushuang was puzzled. A fated person who can completely excavate this treasure, or rather, this treasure, the Samsara Grandmaster said with a smile. Little guy, you must have used the aura of death from the Samsara heaven realm to extend your consciousness here, right? Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. I'm afraid you still don't know what secrets are hidden in the Samsara heaven realm, the Samsara Grandmaster said with a strange expression. Tell me about your understanding of the Samsara heaven realm first. I know that the Samsara heaven realm was created by you personally and is an excellent saint realm for meditating on the Samsara principles. Any expert who meditates on the Samsara principles can gain a lot by entering the Samsara heaven realm. In addition, after you created the Samsara heaven realm, you refined hundreds of Samsara beads and spread them around the divine beginning realm. You even set a rule that only those who have the Samsara beads are qualified to enter the Samsara heaven realm. Jian Wushuang told him everything he knew. As expected, even though so many years have passed, the outside world's understanding of the Samsara heaven realm is still the same. The Samsara Grandmaster laughed. Kid, I'll tell you the truth. Although I established the Samsara heaven realm, all I did was cover it with a magic array and refine the Samsara beads. As for the wonders of the Samsara heaven realm, it has nothing to do with me. I was lucky to find this territory by chance. Like you, I found a big secret hidden under the ground through the death aura I sensed at the beginning. There is endless power of death and endless power of life under the ground. Both the power of death and the power of life are extremely powerful and opposite. However, the power of death and the power of life coexist under the ground and have been perfectly combined to form a huge life and death whirlpool. The whirlpool of life and death? Jian Wushuang's pupils constricted, and his consciousness continued to spread. As expected, on the other end of the power of death was the endless power of life. The power of death and the power of life had long been perfectly combined to form a huge whirlpool of life and death. The moment he felt this whirlpool of life and death, even Jian Wushuang had a deep-seated fear in his soul. The whirlpool of life and death. What is such a huge whirlpool of life and death? Jian Wushuang asked in shock. You don't know what it is? Samsara Grandmaster smiled strangely. The power of life and the power of death. When the two are combined, the first thing that people think of is the rule of life and death. But in fact, when the power of life reaches its peak and combines with the power of death, the thing that is formed is beyond the scope of the rule of life and death. It is the samsara of life and death. In other words, the huge vortex of life and death that you see now is a complete and huge samsara of life and death. The samsara of life and death? Jian Wushuang was completely shocked. Chapter 3395 The Big Secret. The samsara of life and death was a legendary supreme existence. Legend had it that after billions of creatures in this world died, their souls would enter the samsara of life and death. Their memories would be forcefully erased and they would be reincarnated. Even those experts in the divine beginning realm who were extremely powerful and had reached the level of saints or principles masters, although they used their souls as the foundation, once they died, their souls would be destroyed. However, the samsara could still reassemble their destroyed souls and continue the reincarnation without stopping. In his previous life, Jian Wushuang's master, Xianyi, had used a shocking method to forcefully open the reincarnation passage and send Jian Wushuang and Leng Rushuang into the reincarnation. At that time, Jian Wushuang did not know much about the reincarnation passage. When he reached a certain level in the divine beginning realm, he finally understood what an incredible method it was. The reincarnation passage was to activate the samsara of life and death and to change the order of the samsara of life and death. It was incredible. But now, the legendary samsara of life and death appeared in front of him? Jian Wushuang was shocked. The samsara of life and death, what a supreme existence. When I found this samsara of life and death, I was shocked. Then I saw an unprecedented opportunity. Samsara Grandmaster's eyes were filled with excitement. I was thinking, the samsara of life and death is right in front of me. If I can refine it and take it for myself, what would it be like? Jian Wushuang could not help but be stunned. Refine the samsara of life and death? Such a transcendent samsara of life and death, which only existed in legends, had incredible abilities. If a cultivator really refined the samsara of life and death and took it for himself, Jian Wushuang also could not believe it. When I first thought of it, I could no longer control myself. From that moment on, I stayed around this samsara and tried to refine it. However, I spent 300 million years, but there was no progress at all. I also understand that it's almost impossible for me to refine this samsara by myself. There's nothing I can do. I can only give up. At this point, the Samsara Grandmaster could not help but sigh. Refining the Samsara of life and death was absolutely an unimaginable thing. Once he completed it, no one knew what level he would reach. But he understood that the Samsara of life and death was something that even rulers were far from qualified to touch. It had even exceeded the scope of the divine beginning realm. Once he really refined the Samsara of life and death, there was one thing: at the very least, the three great saint domains were nothing in front of him. However, it was a pity that he did not succeed in the end. Although I have already given up on refining this Samsara of life and death, this Samsara of life and death is still right in front of me. Even if I can't obtain such an incredible opportunity, I can't bear to let it continue to be buried. That's why I created the Samsara sect in the shortest amount of time, right above this Samsara of life and death. Afterward, I deliberately covered this place with a magic array and spread the word that this Samsara heaven realm is also very useful to cultivators who comprehend the principles of Samsara. This is also a fact. A complete Samsara of life and death is hidden here. This is naturally extremely useful to experts who have comprehended the principles of Samsara. As for my purpose in doing this, it is actually very simple. This is because even though I have not been able to refine this Samsara of life and death during my 300 million years of exploration, I have come to a conclusion that only cultivators who have comprehended the principles of Samsara have the hope of refining this Samsara of life and death. The old me has spread the Samsara bead. It is not limited to just one Samsara sect. I hope that all the experts in the divine beginning realm who are extremely talented in the principles of Samsara will have the chance to come to this Samsara heaven realm. When they arrive here, they will be able to sense the existence of this Samsara of life and death through that aura of death. However, most people will only be able to sense the power of death for the first time. They will not be able to sense the power of life. Since they can't even sense the power of life, they can't sense the entire Samsara of life and death. Therefore, these people also have no hope of refining the Samsara of life and death. Hearing this, Jianghu Shuang had a general understanding. So you left your consciousness in that part of the power of life. Only when someone comes to the Samsara heaven realm and senses the existence of the power of death and the power of life through the aura of death will your consciousness appear and tell you everything. Jianghu Shuang asked curiously. That's right. Samsara Grandmaster smiled slightly. Although I can't refine the Samsara, I hope someone can refine it. However, I don't want to spread the news of the existence of the Samsara here. If everyone knows about it, it might attract some existences in the universe battlefield. Therefore, I'm looking for some fated people in this way. Now that you have sensed the existence of the power of death and the power of life through the aura of death, you can naturally sense the entire Samsara of life and death. Therefore, my consciousness appeared to tell you all this, and you are naturally one of the fated ones. Before you, although many experts came to the Samsara heaven realm through the Samsara beads, only 3 people were qualified to sense the power of life and let my consciousness appear. You are the 4th. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. I see. Jianghu Shuang understood. Boy, you can sense the existence of the Samsara of life and death when you first came to the Samsara heaven realm. Moreover, you are just an immortal saint. When you grow stronger, you will have a chance to refine the Samsara of life and death. Just cultivate well. Samsara Grandmaster said. I understand. Jianghu Shuang nodded. Well, I've told you the secret of the Samsara heaven realm. You can keep it to yourself but don't spread it. It won't do you any good. As for whether you can succeed in the future, it depends on your luck. Also, the Samsara bead can only allow you to stay in the Samsara heaven realm for a month. During this month, you only need to improve your comprehension of the Samsara principles. You don't need to think about refining the Samsara of life and death. When your strength increases and you have the ability to directly break the restriction I've set up around the Samsara heaven realm, you can try to refine the Samsara of life and death without relying on the Samsara bead. Samsara Grandmaster smiled faintly. After he finished speaking, the hazy figure formed by his consciousness disappeared, and the voice of Samsara Grandmaster did not ring in Jianghu Shuang's heart anymore. Chapter 3396 The Rules of Reincarnation. Seeing the Samsara Grandmaster's figure disappear, Jianghu Shuang understood that the reason why the Samsara Grandmaster's consciousness appeared was to tell him the secret of the Samsara heaven realm. Now that he had told him, his consciousness naturally fell silent again. The Samsara of life and death, if it really is the legendary Samsara of life and death, then this opportunity is too great. Jianghu Shuang exclaimed in his heart, but at the same time he also understood that if it really was the Samsara of life and death, it would be as difficult as ascending to heaven to refine it. For example, the Samsara Grandmaster himself was extremely powerful. He created the Samsara sect with great means. Although he might not have reached the overlord level, his strength and his understanding of the Samsara principles. Among the experts born in the divine beginning realm who were good at the Samsara principles, there were definitely few who were good at it. However, such an expert, who was extremely talented in Samsara principles, had studied it for 300 million years without making any progress. One could imagine how difficult it was to refine and master the samsara of life and death. Such a great fortune is placed in front of me, but am afraid I won't be able to enjoy it. Jianghu Shuang shook his head secretly. Perhaps in the future, when he grew up and reached the peak level that the Samsara Grandmaster had mentioned, he would try to break the restrictions around the Samsara heaven realm, but now, Jianghu Shuang would not waste a month's time refining the Samsara. The Samsara is a complete Samsara. I will meditate in it. It will definitely help me to master the Samsara principles. I wonder if I have the chance to improve the Samsara principles and master the Samsara principles in this month. Jianghu Shuang clenched his hands. Once the Samsara principles was improved, his strength would also be greatly enhanced. Let's begin. Jianghu Shuang did not hesitate and sat down cross-legged in the Samsara heaven realm. His consciousness still covered the entire Samsara with the death aura. He carefully observed and felt the Samsara. He felt the power of life and death in the Samsara and the complete Samsara principles. The combination of life and death is perfect. The power of life and death is connected with the power of Samsara. Many thoughts suddenly appeared in Jianghu Shuang's mind. In the Samsara heaven realm, he had seen the Samsara principles too clearly through the Samsara. Soon he found the part of the Samsara principles that he had not mastered yet. Then he began to meditate. Time passed quietly. A month passed quickly. The Samsara heaven realm was still filled with the power of the Samsara principles. Even Jianghu Shuang's body was filled with the rich Samsara principles. However, as Jianghu Shuang slowly opened his eyes, the power of the Samsara principles on his body and around him instantly disappeared. Jianghu Shuang sat there with his legs crossed. He looked calm and unremarkable in the Samsara heaven realm. It was as if he belonged to a part of the Samsara heaven realm, or it could be said that the Samsara heaven realm was filled with a part of the Samsara principles. The Samsara heaven realm did not disappoint me. After a month, I have completely grasped the Samsara principles. Jianghu Shuang smiled. At this moment he could already feel the complete power of the Samsara principles. After he had gathered the spacetime principles, he had finally completely comprehended the second principle. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. After comprehending the Samsara principles, Jianghu Shuang immediately gained another portion of the power of his will. Originally, because he had comprehended the spacetime principles and the combination of the spacetime principles and the Samsara principles, he had already mastered 2 portions of the power of his will. Now that he had also comprehended the Samsara principles, he had mastered 3 portions of the power of his will. 3 parts of the power of the will were already at the level of an ordinary expert in the third realm of the void. However, Jianghu Shuang had cultivated the life divine power, so it was equivalent to having 1 more part of the power of the will, as well as the heaven cleaving skill. 1 part of the power of the will could also be comparable to 1 part of the power of the will. If all these were calculated, he now had the power of 5 parts of the power of the will, which was already at the level of an expert in the 5th realm of the void. The principles masters of the 5 void realms were almost at the top level in the divine beginning realm. After all, apart from those masters of the saint realm or experts who had reached the ruler level, there should be less than 20 experts of the 6 void realms in the divine beginning realm, and those below the 6 void realms were the principles masters of the 5 void realms. They were the principles masters of the 5 void realms. Unfortunately, although I have mastered the 3rd part of the power of the will, I still don't feel the slightest sign of a breakthrough. Jianghu Shuang frowned. After all, he was still an immortal saint. Although he had reached the peak of the immortal saint and met all the requirements for an ordinary cultivator to break through to the principles master level, and even exceeded them by a lot, a perfect life-level cultivator, it was already much more difficult than other cultivators to break through from the immortal saint realm to the principles master realm. Even though he had mastered 3 portions of the power of the will, he still could not break through. Temporal Temple Master said before that Master seemed to have fused 3 principles before he broke through to the principles master realm. I've only fused 2 principles now and am still far from Master's level, Jianghu Shuang muttered. I can't rush it. I have to take it step by step. After fusing 2 principles, he'll have to figure out a way to comprehend the 3rd principle. The 3rd principle should be the destruction principles. The destruction principles had a higher affinity than the reincarnation principles, which was comparable to the spacetime principles. Jianghu Shuang would definitely choose the destruction principles as his next principle to comprehend. However, he had not really comprehended the destruction principles before, so he had to start from scratch. It would definitely take a lot of time. If he could have some opportunities or treasures to help him, his progress would be faster. The 1-month deadline is up. The Samsara Heaven Realm is already rejecting me. I'd better go out first. Jianghu Shuang smiled, then stood up and slowly walked out of the Heaven Realm. Before leaving, Jianghu Shuang stopped with some reluctance. His consciousness once again activated the aura of death and felt the complete samsara of life and death. Samsara, I don't know if someone really has the ability to completely refine you. If that person really exists, I hope it's me. With a sigh, Jianghu Shuang left the Samsara Heaven Realm. Chapter 3397, Another Enemy? After coming out of the Samsara Heaven Realm, Jianghu Shuang immediately met up with Demon Master Chenhua, who was guarding outside. Heavenly Sword Marquis, how's your harvest in the Samsara Heaven Realm? Demon Master Chenhua asked casually. Not bad. Jianghu Shuang smiled, but he was very satisfied. Indeed, although he had only stayed in the Samsara Heaven Realm for a month, he had completely comprehended the Samsara principles and mastered the third part of the power of the will. At the same time, he also learned a shocking secret contained in the Samsara Heaven Realm. If this secret was spread out, it would definitely cause a huge wave in the Divine Beginning Realm. Not only in the Divine Beginning Realm, but even in the universe battlefield, it would probably be shocked. Such a harvest was worthy of Jianghu Shuang's rejoicing. The trip to the Samsara Heaven Realm has ended. There's no need for us to stay in the Samsara sect anymore. Let's just leave, Jianghu Shuang said. Immediately, Jianghu Shuang and Demon Master Chenhua planned to leave. Before leaving, of course, he met with the Samsara Sect Master and the others. Sect Master, take good care of the Samsara Sect and the Samsara Heaven Realm. Don't let the Samsara Heaven Realm suffer any losses. Maybe you'll go back to the Samsara Heaven Realm in the future, Jianghu Shuang said with a smile. He was telling the truth. After learning the secret of the Samsara Heaven Realm, as long as his strength grew, he would definitely enter the Samsara Heaven Realm again to try to refine the Samsara. Humph. The Samsara Sect Master snorted coldly but did not say a word. In his heart, the Samsara Sect Master was puzzled. 1 month ago, when Jianghu Shuang had just entered the Samsara Heaven Realm, he had informed the Flame Saint Realm of the whereabouts of Jianghu Shuang and Demon Master Chenhua. He had thought that the Flame Saint Realm would make a move. The Flame Saint Realm had even personally descended. However, a month had passed, and the Flame Saint Realm had not made a single move. This made him feel very strange, but he did not dare to ask why. Now that Jianghu Shuang had come out of the Samsara Heaven Realm, he could only obediently let Jianghu Shuang and Demon Master Chenhua leave. What on earth is the Flame Saint Realm doing? Samsara Sect Master could only curse in his heart. If the Flame Saint Realm did not show up, he could not avenge Dujiu with the strength of the Samsara Sect alone. Jianghu Shuang and the Demon Master Chenhua left the Samsara Sect without any obstacles or trouble. Just as Jianghu Shuang was about to return to the patrol team temporarily, the old master, Mai Yi, personally sent a message to him. My friend, I've encountered some trouble. I'm afraid I can't invite my good friend here to perform the soul peeling. Mai Yi's voice sounded a little melancholic. Senior, what's going on? Jianghu Shuang frowned. He needed the help of a Void Sixth Realm expert who was very good at soul peeling to ensure that the soul peeling would not cause great harm to Lung Rushuang. He could ensure that Lung Rushuang's soul could be restored in the future. But how could Mai Yi fail to invite this expert of the 6 realms of void who was very good at soul manipulation? To tell you the truth, after you left the Supreme Emotion Forgetting Valley, I immediately tried to contact my good friend. Although she is still in seclusion, I first contacted the people around her and wanted to ask when she would come out of seclusion. But during this contact I learned something. Mai Yi said. What is it? Jianghu Shuang asked immediately. I know that my good friend has a grudge with you, so once my good friend finds out that it's your wife who will be stripped of her soul, she will never agree, Mai Yi said. A huge grudge with me? Jianghu Shuang was shocked. Why do you have a grudge with me again? I admit that I have offended many experts during my rise, but I don't think they are everywhere. Jianghu Shuang was a little angry. He had met the Samsara Sect Master in the Samsara Sect, and he had indirectly killed his son Dujiu. But now, the expert in the 6th realm of the Void Realm that Mai Yi had mentioned had a grudge against him? If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Senior, who is your good friend? Jianghu Shuang asked. Her name is Dai, and she is the current Grandmaster of the Nine-Tailed Clan, one of the 4 divine clans, Ma Yi said. Jian Wushuang was stunned, but then a bitter smile appeared on his face. No wonder you said you have a grudge against me. So it's her? Jian Wushuang had already understood. In fact, he should have guessed it long ago. There was only one expert of the 6 void realms who was good at soul manipulation, not to mention the 3 saint realms. The Nine-Tailed Clan was good at soul manipulation and charm. They were well known in the divine beginning realm and were exceptionally powerful. Jian Wushuang had killed the 9-temple saintess in the blood wave realm, who was the daughter of the clan leader of the Nine-Tailed Clan. After Jian Wushuang left the blood wave realm, the 3 saint realms set up an inescapable net to kill him. During this process, the Nine-Tailed Clan also sent experts to kill him. At that time, Jian Wushuang met the 2 sisters of the 9-temple saintess, but the clan leader of the Nine-Tailed Clan did not show up. Now Jian Wushuang knew that the clan leader, the mother of the 9-temple saints, had been in closed-door cultivation all these years and had no contact with the outside world. Even if the 9-temple saintess died, she did not show up, but that did not mean that she did not care about her daughter's life. Once the Grandmaster of the Nine-Tailed Clan came out of seclusion, the first thing he would do would be to kill Jian Wushuang. On this basis, Jian Wushuang still wanted the Grandmaster to strip his wife's soul? Was that possible? Even if the Grandmaster of the Nine-Tailed Clan and Ma Yi were good friends and had an extraordinary relationship, the Grandmaster of the Nine-Tailed Clan would definitely not tolerate Jian Wushuang, who killed her daughter. The clan leader of the Nine-Tailed Clan has a great enmity with me. It's impossible for me to rely on her to peel off my wife's soul. It seems that he'll have to find another expert, Jian Wushuang muttered. I'm sorry, my young friend. I thought that my good friend would help, but now, Ma Yi sent a message. You can't blame me for this. You can only blame me for provoking too many enemies. Jian Wushuang shrugged, then he asked, Senior, do you know of any other experts in the 6th realm of the void who are good at soul manipulation? I don't know 2 of them, but they are very old. Whether they are still in the divine beginning realm is not the same. I can try to find them, but you'd better not pin all your hopes on me. You can ask the temporal temple to look for them. Maybe you can find them, said Ma Yi. Chapter 3398, The 9th Ancestor. Thank you, Senior. Jian Wushuang understood what Ma Yi meant. After communicating with Ma Yi, he immediately took out Temple Master Bai Xing's message token. An expert of the 6th realm of the void who specializes in the soul? Temple Master Bai Xing was a little surprised. Heavenly Sword Marquis, why are you asking this? Of course it's something very important. Do you know about it, Temple Master Bai Xing? Jian Wushuang asked. There are not many experts of the 6 realms of the void in the divine beginning realm, and those who specialize in the soul are even rarer. One of them is the clan leader of the Nine-Tailed Clan, Temple Master Bai Xing said. Forget about the clan leader of the Nine-Tailed Clan. I killed her daughter. There's no way to resolve the enmity between us, Jian Wushuang said. Aside from the clan leader of the Nine-Tailed Clan, there's only one person I know who can fulfill your request, Temple Master Bai Xing said. Who is it? Jian Wushuang asked immediately. It's Spirit Ancestor from the Divine Ancestor Daoist Sect. Temple Master Bai Xing said seriously, the Divine Ancestor Daoist Sect is one of the 3 freedom alliances like our temporal temple. Its overall strength is huge and there are many top experts. Spirit Ancestor is one of the top experts in the Divine Ancestor Daoist Sect. This Spirit Ancestor has long reached the level of the 6 states of the void, and it is said that she has already reached the peak of the 6 states of the void. And her best technique is soul attacks. Her attainments in the aspect of the soul are definitely one of the best in the entire divine beginning realm. Even compared to the Nine-Tailed Clan's Grandmaster, she is probably on par. She should be able to satisfy your request. However, this Spirit Ancestor has an extremely cold and aloof personality. She does not care about the affairs of the world. She is clearly one of the top experts of the Heavenly Ancestor Daoist Sect and has a very high status in the Heavenly Ancestor Daoist Sect. She has even obtained the title of Ancestor. However, there are no experts under her command. Therefore, among the 9 ancestors of the Heavenly Ancestor Daoist Sect, the Spirit Ancestor is the weakest. She is basically an empty shell. It will be difficult for you to ask her for help. Hearing Temple Master Bai Xing's words, Jian Wushuang smiled. It's difficult, but it doesn't mean that there's no hope. It just so happens that I have some conflicts with the Divine Ancestor Daoist Sect. I had planned to go to the Divine Ancestor Daoist Sect when I had time, but now it's just in time. In that case, I'll go to the Divine Ancestor Daoist Sect now. Jian Wushuang did have some connection with the Divine Ancestor Daoist Sect. When Jian Wushuang was just a divine master in the endless territories, he entered the secret realm of a mysterious expert by chance. Is the heavenly ancestor Taoist temple blood clan line under the rule of the master Shuebei? In the secret realm of heaven and earth of Shuebei, Jian Wushuang had a great opportunity. Even the Peerless Sword Manual was created in the secret realm of heaven and earth of Shuebei. He had promised Shuebei that he would go to the divine ancestor Daoist sect on his behalf. However, for various reasons he had not gone before. This time it was obvious that he had to go. Temple Master Bai Xing, please send me the information of the sects and experts of the divine ancestor Daoist sect, Jian Wushuang said. Wait a moment. In just a moment, Temple Master Bai Xing sent a large amount of information, and Jian Wushuang immediately began to browse through it. It's also one of the 3 Freedom Alliances, but there are so many factions in the divine ancestor Daoist sect? Jian Wushuang looked at the information and was secretly amazed. Although most of the forces or sects appeared to be an iron bucket, in fact, there were some internal struggles for benefits. It was the same for the sects of the weaker forces, but the internal struggles for benefits were even greater for the top forces and sections. For example, the 3 Saint Realms often fought against each other, but did the 3 Saint Realms not usually compete and kill each other? If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. In the 3 Freedom Alliances, the Temporal Temple had too few experts and was always more united, so it was a bit special. It was only a competition for some small benefits and there were no factions. But the other 2 Freedom Alliances, like the Heaven Cleaving Alliance. The Heaven Cleaving Alliance also had 2 great factions. One of the great factions was led by the 3 Palace Masters of the Heaven Cleaving Palace, while the other great faction was led by the 2 famous Heaven Severing Divine Generals of the Heaven Cleaving Alliance. It was said that the 2 heaven-cleaving divine generals were both top experts at the 6th realm of the void. They also had many resources under their command. They could completely contend with the 3 palace masters of the heaven-cleaving palace. As for the heavenly ancestor Daoist sect, there were even more factions. Among them, the famous 9 ancestors were the 9 largest factions. For these 9 ancestors to be able to be called ancestors, each of them had astonishing strength. The weakest were usually experts at the peak of the 5th level of the void, and a few of them had even reached the 6th level of the void. A total of 9 great factions coexisted, and it was very difficult to achieve absolute fairness in the distribution of some of the resources within the heavenly ancestor Daoist sect. Thus, naturally they had to compete and fight. Only the sect that was like Spirit Ancestor, which did not care about worldly affairs and did not have any experts under it, was special. The other 8 sects fought fiercely, including Shuebei's Blood Ancestor sect. Among the 9 sects of the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect, 4 of them are the strongest and have experts of the 6 void realms overseeing them. The Blood Ancestor sect is one of them. Jian Wushuang read the message sent by Temple Master Bai Xing. If I want to go to the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect and ask for the help of the Spirit Ancestor, I can go to the Blood Ancestors branch and finish what Shuebei asked me to do. Jian Wushuang smiled. Then he took out another token which belonged to his good friend Jiu Luo. Brother Heavenly Marquis, when did you remember me? Jiu Luo replied. Jiu Luo, you should be a disciple of the Dao Palace now, right? Jian Wushuang smiled. Jiu Luo came to the 3rd heaven with him through the White Bone Field. Later, because of Jiu Luo, Jian Wushuang had some dealings with the people of the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect. Although I am not a top-level disciple of the Dao Palace, my status is not bad, Jiu Luo said with a smile. Then you should be able to contact Baiju for me, right? Jian Wushuang asked. Of course. What? Do you need something from Master Baiju? Jiu Luo asked, puzzled. Yes, I need something from him. Give him the message token for me, Jian Wushuang said. Wait a moment then. Jiu Luo quickly went to find Baiju. Baiju was a principal's master of the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect. He was also in charge of some matters of the Dao Palace. His status in the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect was not low. Jian Wushuang had not had much contact with the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect before. Among the only people he had interacted with, Baiju was the strongest among them. Before long, Jiu Luo found Baiju and handed him the message token. Chapter 3399, Divine Ancestor Daoist Sect. My dear Heavenly Marquis, it's hard to imagine that you would come to me with your current strength and status. What can I do for you? Baiju was very humble. He always remembered that when Jian Wushuang had just reached the 1st heaven, he was just a little guy who had just entered the true saint realm. Although he was very talented, he thought highly of him. However, he thought that Jian Wushuang would at most have a chance to challenge the principal's master. Unexpectedly, as time passed, Jian Wushuang's growth rate became more and more astonishing, and his fame in the divine beginning realm also grew. Especially the battle on the Saha Island not long ago, which completely shocked the entire divine beginning realm. Until now, not to mention an ordinary principles master like him, even in the entire divine ancestor Daoist sect, no one would dare to underestimate Jian Wushuang at all. Baiju was both delighted and proud that such a peerless genius had taken the initiative to send a message to him. Obviously, Jian Wushuang remembered him. "Mr. Baiju, I do have something to trouble you with," Jian Wushuang said with a smile. "Just say it." "As long as I can do it, I won't refuse," Baiju said. "It's like this. For some special reasons, I need to go to the divine ancestor Daoist sect to meet one of the 9 ancestors, Spirit Ancestor, and ask her to help me," Jian Wushuang said. "You want to meet Spirit Ancestor? You need Spirit Ancestor's help?" Baiju was stunned. "What? Is there a problem?" Jian Wushuang asked. "Yes, there is," Baiju said in a deep voice. "My dear Heavenly Marquis, you may have heard that Spirit Ancestor is the most cold and difficult person to get along with when the 9 ancestors of the Heaven Ancestor Daoist sect are present. Sometimes she is completely unreasonable. With your current status, I'm afraid that no one dares to ignore you. However, Spirit Ancestor doesn't care who you are. No one can say for sure whether she will see you or not." "No, but I have to try anyway," Jian Wushuang said with a smile. "Well, how about this? I can go to the Spirit Ancestor's branch for you and see if the Spirit Ancestor is willing to meet you," Baiju said. "No need." Jian Wushuang shook his head. "In addition to meeting the Spirit Ancestor, I have to go to the Blood Ancestor's branch for some other things. So I'm going to the Divine Ancestor's Dao field no matter what. The reason I'm sending you a message now is that I hope you can tell the people of the Blood Ancestor's branch for me. Don't let me be turned away when I come to see you." Jian Wushuang had already been rejected twice, and each time he had been rejected directly. But he could not keep fighting his way in, could he? "That's easy." Baiju smiled and said, "How about this, my friend? You can come to the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect now. I will inform the Blood Ancestor lineage in advance, and then I will personally lead you to visit the Blood clan." "Thank you for your help," Jian Wushuang said gratefully. After the transmission was cut off, Jian Wushuang looked at Demon Master Chenhua and asked, "Chenhua, are you interested in following me to the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect?" "Divine Ancestor Daoist sect?" Demon Master Chenhua's expression changed. It said that the 9 ancestors of the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect are all super experts. When the Amethyst Demon sect was alive, I had always yearned to fight with one of the 9 ancestors, but I never had the chance. Now that I have the chance, of course I have to go. It would be even better if I could fight 1 or 2 of the 9 ancestors in the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect. "Haha, let's go then." Jian Wushuang laughed heartily and immediately left with Chenhua. The 3 freedom alliances of the divine beginning realm were widely recognized as the 3 overlords of ambition. To a certain extent, even the 3 saint realms were extremely fearful of the 3 freedom alliances. The 3 freedom alliances' lairs were also quite special. For example, the Heaven-Cleaving Alliance directly occupied 2 huge stars as their lairs. Moreover, these 2 stars were forcefully refined by someone with great methods. They were not born naturally in the divine beginning realm. The temporal temple was synonymous with mystery. No one knew the exact location of their lairs. Even the experts of the temporal temple could only rely on special methods to enter their lairs. As for the appearance of the heavenly ancestor, his lair was also very unique. It was located on a floating piece of land outside the 3rd heaven. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website myboxnovel.com. Thanks. This piece of land was a huge battlefield. Many years ago, the leader of the Heavenly Ancestor Daoist sect, the Heavenly Ancestor, had transferred it from the cosmic battlefield. In other words, this piece of land did not belong to the divine beginning realm, it belonged to the vast universe. Naturally, this land was very different from the other places in the divine beginning realm. The conditions for cultivation were much better than the other places in the divine beginning realm. The huge floating land was completely covered by a magnificent formation. At the front of the formation, besides many guards standing at the entrance, there were also 2 figures emitting magnificent auras standing there. They were both principles masters. One of them was Baiju, who Jian Wushuang had sent a message to, and the other was Master Ku. Back in the Blood Wave realm, countless immortal saints fought for the opportunity of the Blood Wave realm. Master Ku was the strongest immortal saint in the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect. He had also received a Blood Wave token. From then on, he broke through to become the Principles Master in the Blood Wave realm. My young friend, the Heavenly Marquis, has already sent me a message. He will arrive soon, said Dujiu. Heavenly Sword Marquis. Hearing this name again, Master Ku's expression was extremely complicated. Previously in the Blood Wave realm, this Heavenly Sword Marquis was on equal footing with me. In the beginning he was even much weaker than me. But now, although he is still an immortal saint, his strength has long surpassed mine. I really don't know how he cultivated. You don't have to be discouraged. I heard from your blood clan that you have already opened the Heaven and Earth secret realm. I'm afraid that it won't take long for you to complete it. Once you open the Heaven and Earth secret realm, you will gain another portion of the power of your will. That will be the ruler of the principles of the second realm of the void. Compared to my little friend, the difference isn't too big, Dujiu said. How can it not be too different? 400 years ago on the Saha Island, this Heavenly Sword Marquis could already fight against experts at the four void realms. Now that 400 years have passed, he must be even stronger. Master Ku curled his lips. Beside him, the guards of the Heavenly Ancestor Daoist sect watched in astonishment as these two leisurely chatted. They were well aware of their strength and status in the Heavenly Ancestor Daoist sect. Lord Hundred Absolute and Master Ku are standing here at the same time. Clearly they are waiting for someone. But who is it that made these two lords wait here? Those guards were extremely curious. Not long after, two human figures rushed over from the void in front of them. Chapter 3400. The Bloodline of the Blood Ancestor coming. Dujiu and Master Ku raised their heads. When they saw the two figures in front of them, they immediately went up to greet them. Haha, Heavenly Marca, it's good to see you again. Dujiu laughed heartily. Brother Heavenly Marquis, how have you been? Master Ku also looked at Jianghu. Master Ku? Jianghu's expression changed. My dear Heavenly Marquis, Master Ku happens to be a member of the Blood Ancestor's bloodline. He has also interacted with you in the Blood Wave realm. Therefore, when I told the experts of the Blood Ancestor's bloodline about this, the Blood Ancestor's bloodline sent him to welcome you, Dujiu said. Is that so? Jianghu raised his eyebrows. My young friend, may I know who's next to you? Dujiu glanced at Demon Master Jinhua. He's my guard, Jianghu said straightforwardly and did not introduce him too much. Guard? Dujiu and Master Ku looked at Demon Master Jinhua seriously. Although the latter did not emit any aura as an expert, their instincts told them that they could barely sense the enormous pressure emitted by Demon Master Jinhua. The one who could give them such great pressure was undoubtedly a very powerful expert. By the way, is the Blood Ancestor in the Divine Ancestor Dao field? Jianghu asked. The Blood Ancestor has been wandering in the universe battlefield for years and has not returned for some time. Now, the Master Ancient Wheel is in charge of many matters in the Blood Ancestor branch. After learning that you are coming to visit the Blood Ancestor branch, the Master Ancient Wheel has made preparations. Now, follow me to the Blood Ancestor branch to see the Master Ancient Wheel, Master Ku said. Okay. Jianghu nodded. Immediately, Jianghu and Demon Master Jinhua entered the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect under the guidance of Master Ku. They headed toward the location of the Blood Ancestor's bloodline. As for Dujiu, he followed along. The 9 ancestors of the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect were one of the 9 major sections. Each sect had a place to live in the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect. The Blood Ancestor's bloodline lived in a continuous mountain range with more than 10 towering peaks in the middle. Master Ku led Jianghu to the largest peak. Brother Heavenly Marquis, that's where the Blood Ancestor lineage usually meets. The Master Ancient Wheel is already waiting inside. Let's go down, Master Ku said as he pointed to a towering palace below. Jianghu nodded and followed Master Ku into the towering palace. In the palace, all the principals masters of the Blood Ancestor had gathered here, including Master Ku, because they knew that Heavenly Sword Marquis, who was very famous in the Divine Beginning realm, had come to pay a visit. There were 8 principals masters in total, led by a middle-aged man with a handlebar mustache and a green robe. Brother Heavenly Marquis, this is the Master Ancient Wheel, Master Ku introduced. Hello, Master Ancient Wheel, Jianghu said with a smile. Haha, I've long heard that you're the #1 genius in the history of the Divine Beginning realm, but I've never had the chance to meet you. But today, I'm finally fortunate enough to meet you. Master Ancient Wheel smiled, but his voice was a bit rough. Master Ancient Wheel, you're too polite. To be honest, I came here today because I promised someone that I would pass some things to an expert of the Blood Ancestor's bloodline for him, Jianghu said. Oh. Master Ancient Wheel's expression changed. I wonder who the person that you promised is? His name is Shuebe. If I'm not mistaken, he should also be the principal's master of your blood ancestor's bloodline, Jianghu Shuang said. Shuebei. Master Shuebei? If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. In the hall, the principal's masters of the blood ancestor's bloodline instantly became restless. Master Shuebei, are you saying that the Master Shuebei asked you to come to our blood ancestor's bloodline? Have you met Shuebei? Master Ancient Wheel was obviously a little anxious. Yes, I've met him, but I've only seen his consciousness. As for his original body, it's already dead, Jianghu Shuang said. Dead? Master Ancient Wheel and the others were not surprised by this result. Many years ago, when they received Shuebei's last message, they had guessed that Shuebei had died. However, they did not know that Shuebei had left a consciousness behind. Shuebei is one of the top combat strength of our blood ancestors' lineage. In terms of strength, he has already grasped a total of 5 portions of the power of will. Even among the principles of the 5 levels of the void, he can be considered relatively strong. Back then, he even dared to venture into the universe battlefield alone and even obtained many opportunities from it. However, he seemed to have obtained some special fortuitous encounter during his adventure in the universe battlefield, which led to him being targeted. When he returned to the divine beginning realm, he was immediately surrounded and killed by a mysterious expert. He was also killed during that encirclement. Although my blood ancestor lineage received his distress message at the first moment, because he chose to enter the divine beginning realm from a remote location, he arrived in the endless territory after arriving in the divine beginning realm. The endless territory is too big and far away from the third heaven. Even if the Heaven Ancestor Dao Sect sent experts to rescue him as soon as possible, we still couldn't save him in time, Master Ancient Wheel sighed. The principal's masters of the Heaven Ancestor Dao Sect also had ugly expressions on their faces. Shuebei's death was a great loss to the Heaven Ancestor Dao Sect. It was a great loss even to the entire Heaven Ancestor Dao field. Jianghu Shuang also knew that Shuebei had indeed obtained a special opportunity in the universe battlefield. He had also discovered a special spacetime that was extremely mysterious. Even with Shuebei's strength, he could not see much of it. It was very likely that there would be a great opportunity during the period. Shuebei had recorded the location of the special spacetime with a star map, and Shuebei had given the star map to Jianghu Shuang on the spot. After hearing what the Master Ancient Will said, Jianghu Shuang could not help but guess that it was because of the star map that Shuebei was targeted and killed. Master Ancient Will, I did see Shuebei's secret realm in the endless territory, and I also saw his consciousness. At the same time, I also got some opportunities from him. As a condition, I promised him to give this interspatial ring to the experts of the blood ancestor lineage. Jianghu Shuang reached out his hand. He took out an interspatial ring. This interspatial ring was given to him by Shuebei. Jianghu Shuang had guessed that it was Shuebei's lives accumulation, but he did not take the initiative to look at it. Even though he could easily break the seal Shuebei left in the interspatial ring with his current strength, Jianghu Shuang did not break the seal. After all, the interspatial ring was left by Shuebei to the blood ancestor bloodline. Jianghu Shuang did not have the slightest intention of coveting it. Even if there was a world-shaking supreme treasure inside, he would not be tempted. Chapter 3401. Trouble. Jianghu Shuang did not care about the interspatial ring, but the bloodline of the divine ancestor was different. The heavenly Tao was divided into 9 sections. Because there were many sects, there were not many of them. Especially at this time, the bloodline of the blood ancestor needed sufficient resources. What Jianghu Shuang brought was the interspatial ring left by Shuebei. It was a lifetime collection of treasures by an expert of the 5 void realms. It was definitely a timely help to the blood ancestor bloodline. Indeed, after Jianghu Shuang took out the interspatial ring, Master Ancient Wheel immediately took it. When he saw that the seal left by Shuebei was still intact, he was even more delighted. When he broke the seal on the interspatial ring, after checking the things left inside, the smile on Master Ancient Wheel's face completely appeared. Mr. Heavenly Marquis, I've troubled you this time. On behalf of the entire blood ancestors bloodline, I'm extremely grateful to you, Mr. Heavenly Marquis. The Master Ancient Wheel said with some excitement. There's no need to thank me. Jianghu Shuang waved his hand. If you really want to thank me, Shuebei has helped me a lot. If it weren't for him, my growth wouldn't have been so fast. As for bringing this interspatial ring to the blood ancestors bloodline, it's just a piece of cake for me. That's true. But without you, I'm afraid that the blood ancestors bloodline would never have been able to get what Shuebei left behind, said Master Ancient Wheel. Let's not talk about this. Jianghu Shuang changed the topic. Master Ancient Wheel, apart from handing this interspatial ring to your blood ancestor's bloodline, I also have a favor to ask. Please feel free to tell me. Master Ancient Wheel appeared to be quite enthusiastic. Well, I have a very important matter to ask for the help of Spirit Ancestor from the Heaven Ancestor Daoist sect. But I heard that Spirit Ancestor is a reclusive person and it's very difficult for me to see her, let alone ask for her help. If I ask for her help directly, I'm afraid she might not respond to me. Therefore, I'd like to ask Master Ancient Wheel to take a trip for me, Jianghu said. Mr. Heavenly Marquis, do you want the Blood Ancestors branch to invite Spirit Ancestor? Master Ancient Wheel looked at Jianghu. Yes. Jianghu nodded. Master Ancient Wheel frowned, and the principals masters of the Blood Ancestors branch looked at each other in dismay. From their expressions, it was obvious that they were in a difficult position. Mr. Heavenly Marquis, since you know that Spirit Ancestor is a reclusive person who doesn't care about worldly affairs, and she doesn't have much contact with the Blood Ancestors branch, and she has never owed the Blood Ancestors branch anything, I'm afraid it's difficult to ask her to do a favor for the Blood Ancestors branch, Master Ancient Will said. Oh. Jianghu narrowed his eyes. Of course, whether or not Spirit Ancestor does it for the sake of the Blood Ancestors bloodline, he'll send a message to her personally to give it a try. But I can't guarantee the result, said Master Ancient Wheel. Thank you very much. Jianghu smiled. He knew that even if the Blood Ancestors bloodline made an appearance, Spirit Ancestor might not necessarily do it for the sake of face. But in any case, it was better for the Blood Ancestors bloodline to make an appearance than for him to directly ask for an audience. Wait a moment, I'll send a message to ask for you now. Master Ancient Wheel began to send a message in the hall. However, Master Ancient Wheel was not the Blood Ancestor after all, so he did not have a message token to contact Spirit Ancestor directly. He could only contact a maid who was with Spirit Ancestor. Tvi sent a message to the maid of Spirit Ancestor. She will report to Spirit Ancestor now, but we have to wait for a while, Master Ancient Wheel said. It's okay. I'll wait here, Jianghu said with a smile. Mr. Heavenly Marquis, it's rare for you to come to the Blood Ancestors bloodline. Why don't you have a seat? Master Ancient Wheel said with a smile. Someone take a look at the tea. Soon the tea was served. Jianghu sat in the hall with the many principals masters of the Blood Ancestors bloodline. They would occasionally exchange a few words while drinking tea. During this process, Jianghu discovered one thing. The principals masters of the Blood Ancestors bloodline looked somewhat worried. Master Ancient Wheel, did something happen in the Blood Ancestors bloodline recently? Why do you all look worried? Jianghu asked. Well, Master Ancient Wheel hesitated for a moment and then said, to tell you the truth, sir, the Blood Ancestors lineage has encountered a lot of trouble recently. Oh, tell me about it. Jianghu was interested. Sir, I think you know the internal structure of the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect. Although it's one of the 3 Freedom Alliances, there are many factions in the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect. There are a total of 9 factions. Although these factions have been competing with the outside world, they are constantly competing with each other. Their goal is to get more resources so that they can become stronger. Master Ancient Will began to explain. And among these 9 factions, 4 of them have always been the strongest. My Blood Ancestor lineage is one of the 4 strongest factions. Not only do we have the Blood Ancestor standing at the very top, who has already reached the peak of the 6th level of the Void, but the principals masters under us are also extremely powerful. Although there isn't a second expert of the 6th level of the Void, there are a total of 3 experts of the 5th level of the Void. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Because the higher-ups are so powerful, our Blood Ancestor lineage has always been very powerful among the 9 lineages. We have also occupied a lot of resources. However, an accident happened not long ago. First, one of the 3 Void 5-level experts, Shuebei, died. This made our Blood Ancestor lineage a great fighting force. Not long after, when the other Void 5-level expert of our Blood Ancestor lineage was adventuring in the universe battlefield, he encountered a sudden crisis and died in the universe battlefield. This was equivalent to 2 of the 3 Void 5-level experts of our Blood Ancestor lineage dying, leaving only me alive. He sighed. Master Ancient Will continued, even if these 2 died, as long as the Blood Ancestor is still alive, our Blood Ancestor bloodline is still very powerful. However, the Blood Ancestor has been wandering in the universe battlefield. Not long ago he encountered some trouble while wandering in a special dangerous land and was temporarily trapped there. He could not escape for a short period of time, so naturally he could not come back from the universe battlefield. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang's expression changed and he suddenly understood. The various sects in the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect were fighting for resources. At this time, the Blood Ancestor bloodline, which was originally very powerful, had suddenly lost 2 experts of the 5th Void Realm. Even the Blood Ancestor, its pillar, was trapped in the universe battlefield. They could not escape for the time being. At this time, the Blood Ancestor bloodline only had the support of Master Ancient Wheel. And how could the other factions of the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect give up this rare opportunity? Chapter 3402, Spirit Ancestor. Without 2 experts of the 5th level of the Void, the Blood Ancestor is temporarily unable to return to the Divine Beginning Realm. With just me supporting him, the position of my Blood Ancestor's lineage will naturally be shaken. The 3 great factions that were on equal footing with my Blood Ancestor's lineage also took the opportunity to make trouble. During this period of time, my Blood Ancestor's lineage has been at a disadvantage in many battles against these 3 great factions. Up until now, many of the resources that we occupied were territories, and we have been forced to give up quite a few of them. However, this is not the end. During this period of time, the Nether Ancestor lineage of the 4 strongest factions has secretly schemed against the Blood Ancestor lineage. They want to compete with the Blood Ancestor lineage for an extremely important territory. The Blood Ancestor lineage is currently thinking of how to deal with it, Master Ancient Wheel said. From his words, Jian Wushuang could tell that he had no solution. Jian Wushuang sighed in his heart. Sure enough, there were all kinds of conflicts of interest in any major force, which could not be avoided. The root of all these interests was one's own strength. Only when one's strength was strong enough, could one earn more resources. Mr. Heavenly Marquis, it's all thanks to you that Shuebai's interspatial ring has returned. The treasures in the interspatial ring are of great use to my Blood Ancestor's bloodline now. It can be considered to have solved our urgent problem, Master Ancient Wheel said. You're too kind, Master Ancient Wheel. Jian Wushuang smiled, but he began to ponder in his heart. Senior Shuebai was a great benefactor to me. Without the opportunity he gave me back then, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been able to get to where I am today in such a short period of time. Back then, Senior Shuebai said that if I saw that the Blood Ancestor's bloodline was in trouble, I would help if I could. Jian Wushuang did not have much of a relationship with the Blood Ancestor's bloodline, but Shuebai had indeed helped him a lot back then. Moreover, he had obtained Shuebai's mantle. In fact, he could be considered Shuebai's successor. Now that the Blood Ancestor's bloodline was in trouble, Jian Wushuang did not mind helping them if he could. Of course, this was only if he could really help them. After chatting for a while, Master Ancient Will suddenly smiled and said, Mr. Heavenly Marquis, it seems that you're quite a big man. Oh. Jian Wushuang looked at Master Ancient Wheel and asked, has Spirit Ancestor replied? Yes, the maid of Spirit Ancestor has sent a message. She said that Spirit Ancestor is willing to see you and wants me to take you there now, Master Ancient Will said. Then let's not waste any time. I'll ask Master Ancient Wheel to lead the way. Jian Wushuang stood up with joy on his face. He had known that Spirit Ancestor was cold and aloof and might not meet him. He had been worried because if Spirit Ancestor was unwilling to meet him, he would have to think of other ways, but now it seemed that he was lucky that Spirit Ancestor was willing to meet him. Mr. Heavenly Marquis, come with me. Ancient Wheel Master led Jian Wushuang to the place where Spirit Ancestor lived. Spirit Ancestor was cold and aloof. Although she was an ancestor of the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect and a member of a big faction, she did not have any experts under her command. The place where she lived was not as grand as the Blood Ancestors. She only lived in a bamboo forest near the edge. Deep in the bamboo forest, the river was very quiet. Except for Spirit Ancestor and her handmaidens, no one would come here normally. But today, Master Ancient Wheel brought Jian Wushuang and Demon Master Chenhua to the outside of the bamboo forest. As soon as they arrived, a green-robed woman came up to them. Miss Lu I have brought the Heavenly Sword Marquis here, Master Ancient Wheel introduced with a smile. You are Heavenly Sword Marquis? The green-robed woman looked at Jian Wushuang. Yes, I am. Jian Wushuang nodded with a humble expression. He could see that although the green-robed woman was only a maid under Spirit Ancestor's command, her cultivation had reached the level of Principal's Master. Moreover, judging from the vague pressure coming from her body, the woman's strength was at least at the 4th realm of the void, and it was possible that she had reached the 5th realm. How dare a Principal's Master with such great strength be willing to be a servant of Spirit Ancestor? Jian Wushuang's expression was rather strange. Master has instructed that Heavenly Sword Marquis is alone. The others can leave first or wait outside the bamboo forest, the green-robed woman said. Mr. Heavenly Marquis, there are still some things that we have to deal with in the blood ancestor lineage, so we'll go back first, Master Ancient Will said and left. Naturally, Chenhua stayed outside the bamboo forest to wait for Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang was led by the green-robed woman into the bamboo forest and soon arrived at the center of the bamboo forest. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. In the center of the bamboo forest, there was a clear and bottomless immortal lake. In the middle of the lake, there was a small island with a simple courtyard and a bamboo house. In front of the bamboo house, a black-robed woman was sitting there calmly. Her eyes were staring at the lake in front of her without blinking, as if she had fallen into deep thought. Even if Jian Wushuang and the green-clothed woman walked closer, the black-clothed woman did not react at all. Master, Heavenly Sword Marquis is here, the green-clothed woman said softly. Upon hearing this, the black-clothed woman slowly turned her head to look at Jian Wushuang. Her delicate appearance was not absolutely beautiful, but it had a unique flavor. The black-clothed woman's eyes were like a pool of stagnant water, without the slightest ripple. She is the spirit ancestor? Jian Wushuang looked at the black-clothed woman in front of him. The moment his eyes met the black-clothed woman's, Jian Wushuang felt a burst of astonishment in the depths of his soul. It was as if he had fallen into an extremely wonderful feeling. The spirit ancestor's attainments in the soul are extraordinary. Her every move can easily erode a person's soul. Jian Wushuang was secretly shocked. If it were any other cultivator, even if they were stronger than Jian Wushuang, they would have to be careful when facing the spirit ancestor because the soul attack was silent and did not allow for the slightest reaction. If they were not careful, their souls might be destroyed or they would no longer belong to them. However, Jian Wushuang was different. Because of his different physique, the thing that Jian Wushuang was most afraid of was the soul attack. Heavenly Sword Marquis, greetings to Spirit Ancestor. Jian Wushuang bowed humbly. A saint dares to look directly into my eyes without any fear. You are quite capable, the black-clothed woman said softly. You flatter me, Spirit Ancestor, Jian Wushuang said. Tell me, why did you come to me? Spirit Ancestor had already averted her eyes from Jian Wushuang. Chapter 3403. Conditions. To tell you the truth, I have a favor to ask of you, Spirit Ancestor, Jian Wushuang said directly. Tell me. Spirit Ancestor did not refuse at once. Jian Wushuang told her about his wife's soul stripping. Spirit Ancestor raised her head slightly and asked, Are you going to do the soul stripping for your wife? Yes, but the soul stripping is not a trivial matter. If I'm not careful, my wife's soul might be hurt. Therefore, I have to ask an expert like you who has a higher attainment in soul manipulation to do it personally, Jian Wushuang said. You're right. The soul stripping is not a trivial matter, especially since the person is your wife. You must be careful. If I do it personally with the help of the Old Valley Master of Supreme Emotion Forgetting Valley, I don't dare to say that I won't hurt your wife's soul, but I'm at least 99% sure, Spirit Ancestor said. That's why I came to the Divine Ancestor Daoist Sect and asked you to help me. Of course, if you have any conditions, just say the word, Jian Wushuang said. Just say the word? Young man, you sure talk big. Spirit Ancestor sneered. I do have something that has troubled me for countless years, but can you do it? Spirit Ancestor, you can tell me, Jian Wushuang said. They've an enemy who won't stop until he's dead. I've wanted to cut him into 1,000 pieces for a long time, but I haven't been able to do it. If you have the ability, can you kill him for me? Spirit Ancestor glanced at Jian Wushuang. An enemy? Jian Wushuang frowned. He knew very well that Spirit Ancestor was a very powerful expert of the 6 void realms who was good at the soul. He was also one of the highest-ranking people in the Divine Ancestor Daoist Sect and had the title of Ancestor. He was the enemy of such an expert. Moreover, for so many years, Spirit Ancestor had been unable to do anything to him. How could he be an ordinary character? Although he knew that the other party's identity and strength were definitely not ordinary, Jian Wushuang still asked, But I wonder who the person Spirit Ancestor is talking about is? His name is Northern Borer. As for his identity, you can ask someone from your temporal temple, Spirit Ancestor said. Jian Wushuang immediately sent a message to Temple Master Bai Xing, and he received an answer in just a moment. Northern Borer, one of the 4 divine clans, the clan leader of the Blood Clan? A trace of shock flashed in Jian Wushuang's eyes. Although he knew that his identity was extraordinary, he did not expect him to have such a great background. In the divine beginning realm, apart from the 3 freedom alliances, The 4 divine clans in the third heaven were the strongest among the overlords of the 3 saint realms. Each of the 4 divine races was extremely ancient. It was said that they had existed since the birth of the divine realm. Because they were a special race, each of the 4 divine races was very talented. Although they could not be compared to the special life forms, they were very rare in the divine realm. Jian Wushuang had only met 2 or 3 of them, but the 4 divine races were a huge race. Among the 4 great divine clans, the Nine-Tailed clan was the one that Jian Wushuang had really interacted with. The Nine-Tailed clan had sent experts to kill him, and there were more than a dozen principals masters in the clan. From this, one could see how powerful the Nine-Tailed clan was. However, according to what Jian Wushuang knew, the Nine-Tailed clan seemed to be at the bottom of the 4 great divine clans. It could even be said that they were the weakest clan. The Ancient Clan and the Blood Ancestor were the 2 strongest divine clans. Their overall strength was much more terrifying than that of the Nine-Tailed clan. Blood Clan. In my previous life, the one who caused the huge waves in the 10,000 chaotic worlds was one of the Blood Emperors of the Blood Clan. Jian Wushuang's expression was cold. From his previous life, he knew that the Blood Clan was very strong. But now, the person whom Spirit Ancestor said he wanted to kill was actually the clan leader of the Blood Clan? If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. The clan leader was not something that a mere Blood Emperor could compare to. He was one of the pillars of the Blood Clan. First of all, to be able to become the clan leader of the Blood Clan, that Northern Borer had to be at least a super expert of the 6 states of the void. He had even reached the peak of the 6 states of the void. Just like the Chinhua, he was not far from the limit. Such a super expert, even if a Saint Realm Master personally made a move, he might not have absolute confidence in being able to kill him, right? If he was alone, what more the powerful Blood Clan behind him? What? Are you frightened by my name? Spirit Ancestor looked at Jian Wushuang mockingly. It's not that I'm frightened, but as the clan leader of the Blood Clan, it's not easy to kill Northern Borer unless a master of the Saint Realm or a master-level expert is involved, Jian Wushuang said. Humph, if it were that easy to kill, I would have done it long ago. Why would I need you? Spirit Ancestor snorted. He continued, in short, I've given you the conditions. As long as you kill the Northern Borer, I'm willing to follow you and be your slave, not to mention stripping your wife's soul. I don't care about any other conditions. Jian Wushuang's frown deepened. He could tell that Spirit Ancestor and the Northern Borer had a deep-seated hatred. Otherwise, Spirit Ancestor would not have so much killing intent toward him. He even said that he was willing to be a slave. Asa mighty Spirit Ancestor, an expert of the 6 void realms, he was willing to be a slave only to kill the Northern Borer. One could imagine how much hatred he had. However, this condition was indeed too harsh in Jian Wushuang's eyes. You can leave now. When you can kill the Northern Borer, you can come to me. Otherwise, you can find other experts in the 6 realms of void who are good at soul. At the very least, you can find some inferior experts. Experts in the 5 realms of void might be able to do soul peeling, but the risk is slightly higher. Spirit Ancestor smiled faintly. Jian Wushuang's heart tightened. Find another expert? Although the divine beginning realm was huge, there were only a few experts in the 6 void realms. Among them, there were only 2 experts who specialized in the soul. One was the clan leader of the Nine-Tailed clan, and the other was Spirit Ancestor. The clan leader of the Nine-Tailed clan could not help him. If Spirit Ancestor did not help him, how could he find a 3rd expert? As for Spirit Ancestor's suggestion of finding a weaker expert of the 5th void realm who was good at soul, it was even more impossible. Although it was possible, the risks involved were too great. Even if a few experts of the 5th void realm who were good at soul helped him, there was only an 80% chance that his wife's soul would not be damaged at all. Although it seemed to be a very good chance, what if it was a 1 in a million chance? After all, it was his wife who had to undergo the soul stripping and not anyone else. Although there was only a 20% risk, Jian Wushuang did not dare to take it. Chapter 3404, Scheming. Understood. Goodbye. Jian Wushuang bowed and left. After Jian Wushuang left, the green-robed woman who had brought him into the bamboo forest spoke. Master, as you guessed, Heavenly Sword Marquis must have come to ask you for help because of his soul. Humph, I am in this bamboo forest and do not care about worldly affairs. I have almost no contact with the outside world, and I have nothing to do with this Heavenly Sword Marquis. He came to me naturally because he has something to ask of me. And with his status, if it was a normal matter, he could easily solve it. Even if it was a Void 6 realm expert, he should be able to invite him. But since he came to me, it means that the problem he wants me to help solve is something that ordinary Void 6 realm experts can't solve. then naturally it can only be a matter of the soul. Spirit Ancestor sneered. What Master said is extremely true. However, can the conditions set by Master be achieved by the Heavenly Sword Marquis? No matter what, he is only a saint, right? The green-robed woman said. It is true that he is a saint, but don't forget that when he was on the Saha Island, he was only at the saint level when he single-handedly injured the Flame Saint Master and the Sorcerer God. Of course he used some special methods, but it still can explain a lot of problems, Spirit Ancestor said calmly. Tvi always been very accurate in judging people. This Heavenly Sword Marquis was able to make such a big name in the Divine Beginning realm as a saint, so he's definitely not ordinary. His background, his talent, and his potential in the future are simply not what we can imagine. Especially just now, when he faced me directly, he even dared to look directly into my eyes. During that time, I didn't feel the slightest bit of fear from him. I know that I'm best at the soul and I can silently annihilate a cultivator's soul, but this Heavenly Sword Marquis doesn't seem to be worried at all. It's as if even if I secretly attack him, I won't be able to cause him any harm. This confidence and boldness is something that even many powerful Void 5th stage experts don't possess. Other than that, there's also the most important point. Which point? The green-robed woman looked over. Is the 3 great saint realms. They really place too much importance on him. A rare smile actually appeared on the Spirit Ancestor's face. The 3 great saint realms are such high and mighty existences. Yet, in order to kill a little fellow at the level of a saint, they actually went to such great lengths. Even the 3 great saint masters and even the sorcerer god made a move. How much importance do they place on him? To be able to make the 3 great saint realms disregard everything, it can only mean one thing. The 3 great saint realms sensed an incomparably great threat from this little fellow. This threat is something that no one can compare to. Even our divine ancestor Daoist sect and the other 2 great freedom alliances are far from being able to force the 3 great saint realms to make such a big move. Even the 3 great saint realms are like this. That northern borer is only the Blood Clan's grandmaster. In front of the 3 great saint realms, what is he? Is that so? The green-robed woman nodded heavily. She clearly understood in her heart. Northern borer, wish I could tear him into pieces. Unfortunately, his strength and identity are all there. If I wanted to kill him, it would be too difficult. I can't ask a ruler-level expert to help. However, Heavenly Sword Marquis can be said to be my last chance. I don't hope that Sword Heavenly Marquis can rush to the Blood Clan and kill Northern Borer right now, but since he wants me to help him strip his wife's soul, then for his wife's sake he will definitely work hard. As long as he has enough strength he will definitely help. Spirit Ancestor smiled faintly. But Master, what if that Heavenly Sword Marquis invites another Void 6th stage expert who specializes in the soul? The green-robed woman asked with a frown. Haha, how can it be that easy? Spirit Ancestor's smile grew even wider. To strip a cultivator of his soul without harming his soul in the slightest, to allow him to have the foundation to completely recover, the ability to control his soul is extremely high. The slightest carelessness will only result in the annihilation of his soul. The person that Heavenly Sword Marquis wants to strip his soul is his wife. He absolutely does not dare to take the slightest risk. He must have absolute confidence before taking action. Although I don't care about the affairs of the world, I have a deep understanding of the experts in the Divine Beginning realm. In the Divine Beginning realm, there are only 2 people who have absolute confidence in doing this. One of them is me, and the other is the Grandmaster of the Nine-Tailed Clan. However, the Heavenly Sword Marquis has a grudge with the Grandmaster of the Nine-Tailed Clan for killing his daughter. The Grandmaster can't help him, so I'm the only one left. That is to say, apart from me he can't find anyone else who can help his wife complete the soul stripping without taking any risks. If he wants to hire me he must first kill the Northern Borer. Hearing the words of Spirit Ancestor, the green-robed woman was also stunned. She did not expect that her master, who usually did not care about the affairs of the world, was actually very good at scheming. When Jianghu came to visit the Divine Ancestor Daoist sect, her master had already planned everything. Even Jianghu had to find a way to fulfill her master's conditions for his wife. If you have problems with this website, please continue reading your novel on our new website MyBox Novel. Thanks. Outside the bamboo forest, Jianghu walked out, but his expression was not very good. What's wrong? Did the discussion with Spirit Ancestor not go well? Demon Master Chinhua came over to greet him. It's not that it didn't go well. Spirit Ancestor agreed to help, but her conditions were a little too harsh. Jianghu frowned and then briefly recounted his conversation with Spirit Ancestor. Kill the Blood Clan Grandmaster? When he heard the conditions set by Spirit Ancestor, Demon Master Chenhua could not help but be stunned. This Spirit Ancestor is really daring. The Blood Clan Patriarch's strength is probably not inferior to mine. Moreover, he has the entire Blood Clan behind him. Even a Saint Realm Master would not have absolute confidence in killing him. That's right, but that's Spirit Ancestor's only condition. It seems that there must be a great hatred between him and the clan leader of the Blood Clan. Let me ask Temple Master Bai Xing first. Jian Wushuang immediately sent a message to Temple Master Bai Xing. Soon he received the result from Temple Master Bai Xing. No wonder Spirit Ancestor wanted to kill Northern Borer. It turns out that the clan leader of the Blood Clan once killed Spirit Ancestor's Dao partner. Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. According to Temple Master Bai Xing, Spirit Ancestor once had a Dao partner and they were very loving. However, during an experiential learning together, they encountered the Northern Borer, who had not yet become the Blood Clan Grandmaster at that time. In order to fight for the treasure, their husband was killed by the Northern Borer. Spirit Ancestor was almost mad because of this. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.